Next on America's Day at the races, older horses score off of the Razorback and 3-year-olds take the next step for connections with Derby Dreams in the Southwest. It's a stakes triple header. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, the Razorback Math Wizard. He's gone from maiden claimer to Grade 1 winner with $1 million already bankrolled. Now comes his 4-year-old debut and a chance to show he's one of the top dogs in the handicap division. The road to the Derby continues in the Southwest, where Gold Street hopes to pave a path to the first Saturday in May with his first graded stakes win and a 4th straight victory. And Answer In looks to join his risen star winning stablemate, Mr. Monomoy, as a Derby contender. He makes his 3-year-old debut in the Grade 3 Southwest coming up. Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Wolf. Great to have you with us this afternoon. Derby Dreams continue today at a race course where past stars like Triple Crown champion American Pharoah, Rachel Alexandra, Smarty Jones, and the Fleet Alex all previously took a path to on their way to Triple Crown glory. Today, a new crop of 3-year-olds are hoping to write their own Triple Crown success stories, and the first stop, Southwest, to try and get into that starting gate for these runners that first Saturday in May. And here to help me talk us through all the action we have coming up, we have some other very good races, Distaff Division, older horses as well coming up. Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper, former champion jockey, the MIG, and our main event, obviously, 3-year-olds with a Grade 3 Southwest, and a rematch between a couple of horses we saw in mid-December at Remington in the Springboard Mile, less than a length separated Shoplifted and Answer In.
Yeah, and Shoplifted, I think, just got the cleaner trip. Carlos Santana rode him that day. He'll be riding Silver Prospector today for Steve Asmussen. But Answer In, I don't really think it was Javier Castellano's fault. He just actually had him in the right spot. You always expect there to sort of be a gap, Richie, but they do a good job, the riders, of keeping him inside and forcing him to alter course.
Well, Ricardo Santana held his line. He wasn't going to allow him to split horses, get that easy, clear run through, so he had to shift down towards the rail, where he had ample space, but anytime you have to shift the horse's weight, it's going to check the momentum just a little bit. You can see, to me, he's finishing better than the eventual winner there, Shoplifted. Shoplifted, to me, I wondered if more distance isn't going to hurt him and maybe help Answer In, because he looked like he's the one who wants more ground.
No, I agree with all of that, and I think Answer In may actually be the horse to beat today.
He is less than a length from being undefeated in his career. Very different in stature from Shoplifted. Shoplifted sold for $800,000. He physically is a specimen. Answer In, not that big, not that strong, but he is a gamer.
No, I think Answer In is a really nice horse. I always liked his sire, Dialed In, who I actually think is the answer to a trivia question. I believe he was favored in the Kentucky Derby. Animal Kingdom's Kentucky Derby. Yeah.
I was at his prep on synthetic before that at Turfway.
No, for Animal Kingdom.
For Animal Kingdom, right. Yeah.
Dialed In won the
Did
Florida
not know
Derby.
at the time I was witnessing the Kentucky Derby winner a few weeks later.
You didn't bet him? $47?
No, I did not. Fast conditions at Aqueduct. Our feature today is the Holly Hughes. We're going to have the 8th and 9th here from South Ozone Park, and at Oaklawn, of course, 3 graded stakes on the way to Grade 3 Southwest with points to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. As we look at our beautiful conditions here in South Ozone Park, actually a little warmer than it's been the last couple of days. You can get signed up, started, bet all the races we have for you with Naira Bets. Earn a $200 new member deposit match. Enter the promo code Big A and sign up. Bet twice your original deposit in 30 days. Receive that initial deposit back. Go to NairaBets.com. Again, use that promo code Big A. Our race is also brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We're approaching the 7-minute mark to post for the first of 3 graded stakes races coming up. From the Spa City in Hot Springs, Arkansas, we check in now with Lafitte Pinkai and Hall of Famer Gary Stevens.
Andy Serling breaking out the trivia in the first 3 minutes of the show. I like it. You know, guys, there are certain racing venues you can walk into and just sense that big day atmosphere. Oaklawn is among them. You know, it is referred to as the Saratoga of the South, Gary. Why Oaklawn? What makes this racetrack so special?
Hot Springs is horse racing. That's what it is. I've been coming here 35 years, and it gets bigger every year. They're building a new hotel right behind where we're set right now.
Like 200 rooms.
Yeah, 200 rooms, part of a casino, and just the atmosphere when you walk into this racetrack. It's buzzing. People are excited. All the restaurants at night are talking about the next day's bets and what they're going to do, but this town is horse racing.
Focus today, though, is the racing. We have so much to get to, and a little pressed for time. We're just 7 minutes out to the first of 3 graded stakes races. It is the Bayakoa, named in honor of one of the greatest race mares we've seen over the last 30 years. A South American import. Brilliant job by her trainer, Ron McNally. She was temperamental. He got her to settle down and turned her into a front-running terror. This is the first of her 2 Breeders' Cup Distaff victories with dear old dad in the saddle. Eddie Delahousie and Gorgeous on the inside trying to make a race of it. But Bayakoa, there would be no catching her on this afternoon. A 2-time Breeders' Cup Distaff champion, a 2-time Eclipse Award winner, and she won the Grade 1 Apple Blossom here at Oaklawn in 1989. And her legacy lives on in the form of multiple stakes races. You have one at Del Mar, and this one here at Oaklawn, the Grade 3 Bayakoa. And just like that, a post parade, Gary, we start with a gold standard drawn inside at 3-1.
Yeah, she possesses a lot of speed for the powerful Brad Cox stable. Javier Castellano in from New York for the mount today.
Should have a good stalking trip. Number 2, Go Google Yourself, pictured.
I think Go Google Yourself is going to be a little tough to beat here today. Brian Hernandez coming into town, and Paul McGee, the trainer.
Longest shot on the board as you look at Go Google Yourself. Here is Karen. John Velasquez aboard. He'll be riding Chase Tracker in the Southwest.
And Karen, I think another one. This is a deep field right here. Filly that likes to stalk the pace.
Karen. And again, so competitive on paper. The favorite was 5-2 on the morning line. The longest shot at 6-1. You're seeing it spread to a certain extent now. Karen, longest shot on the tote board, 14-1. Number 4, Emotion, runner-up in the most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies at Oaklawn last spring in the Fantasy.
Yeah, and she's trying to get back on track after that disastrous La Brea last time out. David Cohen climbing aboard for the first time today.
Lady Subi, she's very fast leaving the starting gate.
Yeah, she's going to have some say-so to do about the pace with Motion Emotion. I think that Motion Emotion, she can set off the pace if need be. Lady Subi very quick.
Whoa, Nelly, deep closer, Pippin winner.
She needs speed up in front of her. She needs a fast pace, and that's what Lady Subi, Motion Emotion, could set this thing up. Whoa, Nelly will be flying late.
So that's the field. 6 of them going a mile and a 16th. Fillies and mares 4 and up. The purse $200,000. We touched on Motion Emotion. We tracked her last winter and spring. One of the best 3-year-old fillies on the ground. And you might remember this effort she gave in the Fantasy, where she led throughout every step of the way before being picked off late by Lady Apple.
Yeah, and they're hoping that she does get back on track today. This was an outstanding performance, one of the best performances of her young career. She may have been getting tired towards the end of the year. Maybe that was a reason for her poor performance last time out. But coming back today, she remembers her surroundings. 2
questions, Gary. What's she been up to since? And is she as good now as she was then? She's hanging up there at a big price, 15-1.
You know, her trainer, Richard Baltus, he's a crafty guy. He's really sharp. And this filly's had some good workouts since La Brea coming in.
Make it 9-1 on Motion Emotion. As we say hello to Nancy Hulth is standing by live with trainer Paul McGee. He has Go Google Yourself going in this Bayakoa. Nancy.
Thanks, Lafitte. Now, Paul, I just called her a little ATM, super consistent. She absolutely loves this distance. Graded stakes winner in the Locust Grove, 2 back at Churchill Downs. Tell us how she's trained coming into this race, and how do you think the race will set up?
Well, we backed off of her coming out of the Grade 2 at Churchill Downs, but she's done very well down at the fairgrounds. She's got a couple of bullet breezes down there. Brian has been working her for me at the fairgrounds, and he's been real happy with her. I've been real happy with her. I see her as being just off of the early pace in this race, but she's very versatile and tactical speed, and so I left all that up to Brian.
Some trainers don't like to give too many instructions, but leave it up to the jockey, so that's a lot of responsibility on Brian.
Yeah, certainly, but he knows her well. He's won on her a few times, and he knows her very well, so I put it in his hands.
All right, good luck in today's Bayakoa.
Thanks a lot.
Lafitte?
You like Go Google Yourself a little bit, Gary?
I do. I like her consistency. I mean, she's run 15 times. She's been in the money 15 of those 18 starts. But the filly just very consistent. Had her first out over this racetrack, and it was a win. Getting back there today, she looks great training, warming up out there on the track.
Those blue and green JMS colors, Go Google Yourself at 2-1 second choice in the wagering. Towards her inside is number 1, Gold Standard. Here she is at 5-2. She is trained by one of the brightest young trainers in the sport in Brad Cox. A difficult, difficult morning for Cox, his team, and racing fans alike this morning. Cox, who trained the brilliant 3-year-old filly Taraz, who was injured while training here this morning, evaluated by state vets, it was determined Taraz could not be saved. It's a devastating, devastating loss, and you can only imagine how difficult it is now for Cox and his team to focus on the task at hand. Our thoughts with everyone associated with Taraz. Gold standard at 5-2, but the 6-5 favorite, Gary, is number 6, Wonelli. Expect her to do her best running from off the pace as she did in the Pippin. She should have, on paper, another fast pace to work with.
I think she will have a fast pace to work with, and she's got a favorable jaw on the outside. She likes to come around horses anyway, and Joe Rocco's not going to have to try and do anything fancy leaving there. He knows what her style is. She's been doing well since her last race, and all she does is win races.
Currently 6-5. So let's talk race shape and strategy. It feels like that's going to be determined by what David Cohen does on Motion Emotion and Tyler Bays on Lady Subi. Lady Subi, who was involved in an absolute suicidal pace in her last race in the Pippin. She paid the price late, and Wonelli took full advantage.
Okay, John Sadler, her trainer, she had her first race here. She shipped out here to Oaklawn Park, and she was very excitable that day early on. I think you can look for Tyler Bays to just try and get along with her early here and not get her started. But Motion Emotion, if David Cohen gets aggressive with her, along with the one horse, Gold Standard, Wonelli's going to get all the pace that she needs in front of her, and I look for her to come and run him down late.
So who are you banking on? Which filly is in front when they hit the first turn, Motion Emotion or Lady Subi?
No, Lady Subi's going to be in front, I think, whether Tyler wants to be or not. Like I said, if you come away from there, reach up and grab, take too much hold of them, you get in a fight with them. That's sort of what happened last time. You can actually make them ranker, meaning that they're just start pulling, uncontrollable, tire themselves out. But I expect her to relax a little bit better today, and I think she will clear Motion Emotion, but Motion Emotion won't be far away.
Looking at Motion Emotion and 9-1 leading rider David Cohen, this grade 3 Bayakoa. We've reached post time there. Circling about. Final thoughts on Nancy as they take their time. They'll be loading into the gate very shortly.
Well, guys, I think it's interesting that in the saddling paddock with the short field, all the fillies and mares could have lined up on the same side, but Larry Jones opted to keep Wonelli on the opposite side solo from the rest of the group. He had her in towards the stall wall and had her kind of calm down, kind of keeping her away from the rest of the group, saddled her last from the rest of the field, and kind of kept her away from the bunch. So interesting that I don't remember him doing that previously, but she did come in the paddock pretty amped and looked ready to go. Guys?
Nancy, does she seem settled? Are you liking what you're seeing from Wonelli now through the warm-up and as she prepares to load?
You know what? I'm glad that you asked that because she does look much more relaxed once she got out on the track and looks much more settled. And I think this is definitely what she was waiting for, was to get out on the track.
6-5, Larry Jones, the trainer. He does know his way around a good filly or mare, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. And Joe Rocco Jr., her jockey, I spoke with him last night, and he said that her workout the other day, she was very aggressive. That tells me she's on her game. Love that she came in there a little bit amped up, but settled down. These fillies, you don't want to get them excited on these big days, and the more calm you can keep, let their engines get warmed up when the gate opens, not prior to the race.
This is a terrific series for this particular division here at Oaklawn Park for older fillies and mares. For those who perform well in the Bayakoa, you might see them in the Azeri. If they perform well on that stage, you have the Grade 1 Apple Blossom, one of the most celebrated races for fillies and mares on dirt in the country. I mean, essentially, a championship to a certain extent was earned last year on this track with Midnight Bisou when she showed up and defeated a late twice in last year's Azeri and the Grade 1 Apple Blossom.
Well, the Apple Blossom's a race that every trainer, every owner out there, if they've got a filly or mare of quality, this is the race they're looking for as spring approaches us. It's a very important race, means a lot, Lafitte.
No Midnight Bisous to tackle with on this afternoon, but a competitive group of 6 going a mile and a 16th. It is post time for the Bayakoa. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Motion Emotion missed the break. Go Google Yourself broke beautifully, and so did Lady Subi. Look at Motion Emotion now pull her way after breaking absolutely last all the way up to challenge for the lead. Gold Standard has to tap on the brakes on heels. Then comes Whoa Nelly and Karen, eventful first eighth of a mile. Lady Subi going to clear off for Tyler Bays. It is Lady Subi now a length and a half in front of Go Google Yourself, who stays at the rail, and Motion Emotion just outside. Then the last three all line up together. Whoa Nelly 3 deep, Karen between horses, and Gold Standard at the rail. 4 lengths, first to last, up the backstretch in the 28th Bayakoa, and here is an early move for Joe Rocco and Whoa Nelly all the way up into second behind Lady Subi. So Lady Subi will go to the half-mile pole with a half-length lead on Whoa Nelly, who's now pumped up and after the front runner. Then comes Motion Emotion. Go Google Yourself stays at the rail for Brian Hernandez. She's 2 from the front. Karen is second to last, and Gold Standard is the trailer. They round the far turn. Whoa Nelly and Lady Subi are right together. Whoa Nelly is outside. Lady Subi is inside, and Whoa Nelly has put her head in front. Go Google Yourself going to shift off the rail and come after the front running favorite. At the top of the stretch, Whoa Nelly now leads by a length. Lady Subi is second. Go Google Yourself. Karen in the center. Not today for Gold Standard, and Whoa Nelly comes past mid-stretch, and now she strides away to lead by 2, but immediately Go Google Yourself comes after her. Whoa Nelly reaches. Go Google Yourself attacks. Gonna be close. Whoa Nelly, Go Google Yourself. Go Google Yourself. And Whoa Nelly, Go Google Yourself. Beats Whoa Nelly in a great Bayakoa. Karen third, Motion Emotion fourth.
Thrilling stretch duel in this Grade 3 Bayakoa. Go Google Yourself lengthens her stride and runs down Whoa Nelly in the shadow of the wire.
Yeah, Lafitte, and she needed every inch of that mile and a 16th right there. Just a steady run. Paul McGee had her ready today, brought her in off of a layoff. Gets the money here. She's 2 for 2 at Oaklawn Park. These big, long strides for JMS Stable coming into the stretch here. Beautiful ride, beautiful run.
Will Joe Rocco's ride on Whoa Nelly be questioned / criticized?
She got ranked. He said she was aggressive the other morning. She was aggressive during the race. We see at the start here, 4-horse, the 4-horse coming away from there.
Motion Emotion, weapon in her speed, that's not going to work. Her race was over.
Yeah, it was over with quick, and the pace was being set by your 5-horse up there with Tyler Bays aboard. She stopped Subi at the 5/16 pole. And Go Google Yourself. She got everything she needed. She got the perfect race set up. There you have it.
Yeah, and Nancy talked about how settled Whoa Nelly seemed to be, and Larry Jones keeping her away from the other fillies, but she got a little anxious during the course of the race, and maybe it cost her late as Go Google Yourself goes out there and runs down Whoa Nelly for the JMS Stables. Trainer Paul McGee, Brian Hernandez Jr. Go Google Yourself in the Grade 3 Bayakoa, as we are just getting started with our coverage from Oaklawn Park on its President's Day, the Razorback and the Southwest later this evening.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Orb, winner of the Kentucky Derby and Florida Derby. His runners have scored on both dirt and turf. His recent stakes success includes Mrs. Orb, winner of the Bay Ridge Stakes at Aqueduct, Pippin Stakes victorious Whoa Nelly, and Derlou, a determined runner-up in the Grade 3 La Cañada Stakes at Santa Anita. Classic winner, classic pedigree, or Standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2 at Oaklawn on the Grade 3 Bayakoa. Go Google yourself. Runs down Wonelli, wins for the 7th time in her career.
Yeah, it was a nice stretch battle and an excellent ride by Brian Hernandez, who didn't need any instructions from Paul McGee.
And I think that's the best instructions a rider can get if they're familiar with the horse. Let them do their job. They don't tell Tom Brady he can't call an audible if he reads blitz, right? You got to allow your riders to react.
He did everything right there, and so did Joe Rocco Jr., who was on Wonelli. I think it was just a good horse race, and the two prevailed. Go Google yourself.
Play the 50-50 promo on the Naira Bets app today. You're in a $10 bonus regardless if you win or lose. To earn your bonus, just bet $50 at Aqueduct and $50 at Oaklawn on the Naira Bets app, and you'll get that $10 bonus. Go to NairaBets.com for all the details. Holly Hughes feature is coming up next here at South Ozone Park, New York, and My Boy Tate. Right now, the favorite on the board at 2-1. 6 furlongs, purse of $100,000 in here. The morning line favorite, though, was on the outside, guys. Arthur's Hope. Gate to wire win in that safe Florida Sandy, but was helped that day with the scratch of Morning Breeze, so was all alone on the lead. Probably not going to get the lead all to himself today.
He was helped in a lot of ways there, and that's a very good point you bring up, Greg. He got a rail that was very good. It was helping speed last time. But Arthur's Hope, who's a very talented horse, has never really been successful when he's been forced to rate. He's a very different horse when he can control on the front end. And Richie, with horses like the 4 Amundsen, the 3 Binkster, I don't think it's going to be easy, if at all possible, for him to clear the lead.
Well, you don't imagine him getting a 23 first quarter like he got last time when he gets so comfortable. And I think there's a psychological factor here, too. Although Kendrick Carmouche is a very aggressive rider, when you have the outside post, you tend to be a little bit less aggressive because you're not under any kind of pressure from the outside. I think if this horse is going to be successful, he needs to clear.
I agree he does. And the thing is, My Boy Tate, who ran terrifically when he won his comeback race, his first race in over 13 months, 2 back, he got a fast pace that day, but he ran well. Now, last time, a completely different story. He didn't break well, and he had to sort of rush into the race, and then he made a big 4-wide move. So he was against the flow of the race, and he was against the racetrack. If he can break cleanly today with the speed, I think he gets a much better trick. That's why he's the favorite. Don't love him at 8-5, but I do think he's the one to beat.
And kind of you envision him getting that pocket trip, kind of stalking from the inside, and then he's got to work out a path.
And also, it's interesting, Michelle Nevin's barn had been very cold, really come alive in recent races. I Love Lulu is a very cool old pro for Mike Dubb and Jason Service. He hasn't really had the ability to win races recently, but he does continue to run well. He's a better horse, though, on a wet track.
Yeah, and he's not going to get that today. Absolutely beautiful conditions here. But he's earned over $900,000. It kind of tells you what an advantage to have a New York bred that's consistent, hard-knocking like that.
9-year-old, he's closing in, as Mick said. I mean, he's inching closer to $1 million career earnings. But to Andy's point, 8 of his 11 wins have come on off tracks.
Yeah, and it is neat, though, to see this 9-year-old, and he's still running the same fast figures he ran earlier in his career.
Well, My Boy Tate loves this track. So does this horse right here. This is Sarah Talto for the Jim Bond barn. 5 for 6 at Aqueduct.
Yeah, listen, he's been in terrific form. He's gotten good trips. The fact that he has tactical speed makes it easier to get good trips. But, Richie, I know you picked him and like him. Here's a question for you. This is a horse that has thrived when he's gotten more time, 2 months or more between races. Now he comes back 5 weeks after his last race. Is that a concern?
Well, it is a concern, but you could take it one of 2 ways. He's doing that good that they feel like, hey, he can handle it. The fact that he's got such a gaudy record at Aqueduct, and I think he's going to get the right kind of trip. I think he's going to be stalking in the right spot.
I won't argue with that at all. When you have a horse that's 6 years old, making just his 16th start, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Trying to win a 3rd in a row, but My Boy Tate from the rail, the 1, remains the favorite for Michelle Nevin. It's the Holly Hughes, our feature from Aqueduct. We go to John Imbrial for the call.
The 4-horse, Amundsen, long shot in the field, now moving in. 18-1, Arthur's Hope will break from the outside in the field of 8. And we're set to go. They're all in line. And the stall door has opened up, I believe, on the 3, Binkster. Assistant start is coming over, and the door has been closed, and we should be set for the start in just a moment. And they're off. Amundsen and Morning Breeze, and those two are going out for the lead. It is Amundsen with the lead, and Binkster is racing in second now. I Love Lulu is third. Arthur's Hope Extreme outside in fourth. Serratalto is fifth. Then at the rail, it's Morning Breeze. My Boy Tate is seventh at this point, and PJ Advantage is the trailer in eighth. Amundsen leads 3/4 of a length. I Love Lulu is running in second. The quarter went in 22 1/5 seconds. Arthur's Hope up on the outside in third. Pinkster is in behind the front runners and racing in fourth. It's almost 3 lengths back to Morning Breeze. Serratalto on the outside. Another 3 to My Boy Tate. And PJ Advantage is the trailer. They're at the quarter pole. It is Amundsen, the one to catch. Ran the half in 45 2/5 seconds. And there's less than 3/16 to the finish. Amundsen is in front. My Boy Tate is now kicking in on the extreme outside. Down at the rail, it is Morning Breeze. Then comes Serratalto, a 16th out. Amundsen trying to pull off the upset here in the Hollyus. They're coming down for the finish, and Amundsen has done it in front-running fashion. A photo for second between My Boy Tate and Morning Breeze.
Amundsen got to the front 15-1, and he keeps on going for the upset score.
This is a very fast race. The track's a little bit faster than we've seen a lot of days this winter, but 22.2 is very quick early. But you know what? Jockey Jorge Vargas knew what he had to do. This horse wants to control Richie, and he said, it's better to go too fast and be where I want to be than to try to rate the horse. I think it was a very good ride.
Well, at times aggression is good. It certainly paid off here. It's another winner for Barry Schwartz in this race. I think his 4th or 5th win in this race, as a matter of fact, and a homebred. Shipping in from Maryland, a New York bred based in Maryland, comes and gets the money. Boy, he was impressive. He ran fast and he continued on.
His trainer, Horatio De Paz, does a very, very good job. We don't see him with too many starters. You know, it felt like the number 1, the favorite, would win when he angled out. He just couldn't really gain, but give all the credit to Amundsen. He just ran them off their feet, Greg.
15-1, he did indeed, and holding off that late charge from My Boy Tate, not nearly enough in the Hollyus. We're going to take a break. Kentucky Derby prep. Still ahead from Oaklawn. Chase Tracker for Todd Pletcher makes his 3-year-old debut. Same goes for Answer In, who's less than a length away from being undefeated in his career. The Southwest is still to come.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Cal-bred.
Run Happy, you know, he's 16-2, he's a beautiful horse. There's stamina on top and bottom, and he's stamping his horses with that. I think they look big and fast and like horses that'll go on and run a distance as well as short.
He was a fantastic racehorse, and if he passes on his ability as a racehorse, I think he's a slam dunk to be a great sire. Very athletic looking and beautiful bodied horse as well.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, Amundsen got to the front and just kept on going. Did not come back to this field at all. Now 4 wins from 8 starts as he is successful in his 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, and a very happy Jorge Vargas taking him back to the winner's circle. And this is a terrific training job by Horacio DePaz. He's one of those good trainers, Richie, very under the radar.
Very under the radar, does good with all kinds of horses. You can't pigeonhole him and say he does better with one particular type of horse or another. Very determined son of Curlin. Boy, you could see his demeanor there. He ran.
You have to think these connections are going to be looking at this race and thinking, do we want to take a shot at some point against Open Company? Because this was an impressive performance.
He's won 3 of his last 4 starts. He's just getting good, and he wins his 4-year-old debut impressively. Nightcap from New York. New York bred. Maiden special weight coming up at 3/4 of a mile. More Grateful, 6-1 right now. And this is a horse that's going to take a lot of money late.
Yeah, he'll be favored, I would have to think, by post time. Haven't seen the doubles. And More Grateful, you might look at him and say, well, he lost his last race at 3-5. He ran very, very well that day.
He did take a backward step, though, in running second, didn't he?
He did in some ways, but a lot of things happened. He didn't break that sharply. He was forced to rush up and chase a fast pace. He was down on the rail for much of the running earlier. The rail was bad that day, and that race collapsed late. I actually thought it was a solid effort. Maybe not as good as his debut, but a solid effort nonetheless.
All right, we'll talk more about that one coming up. We're going to head back to Oaklawn right now in the Bayakoa. Go Google Yourself gets the win. Let's check it with Nancy Holthus.
Go Google Yourself victorious in this year's Bayakoa. Well, I mentioned that she was an ATM, and she definitely proved that, getting more black type. Talk me about the stretch run. At what point did you know that she was going to be able to be victorious?
Maybe inside the 16th pole. No, it was a great race. Larry's filly ran a big race also, but this filly, she's just real classy and really game. So, and I thought Brian rode a great race.
Well, speaking of, props to you, Brian Hernandez. Talk to me about that stretch run, because you beat a very impressive filly, but props to Go Google Yourself.
Yeah, we had to work hard to run a good filly down today, but we always have a lot of confidence in our filly. And turning for home, I thought I was going to be able to run her down. I got a little nervous inside the 8th pole because most of the time Larry Jones' horses, they're hard to run down. But our filly, like I said, she's a multiple greatest stakes winner, and she knows how to get it done, and she proved it again today.
Absolutely, she did indeed. And if you Google her, she's got more black type. Go Google Yourself victorious in this year's Bayakoa.
Nancy, thank you. She's won 5 of her last 8 starts. She is on a roll. 5-year-old mare by Into Mischief as we set up race 7 from Oaklawn. Entry-level allowance coming up. It is a 2-turn mile, and all the money right now on Potomac. Steve Asmussen, second off the claim. He's won a 1/3 of his starts, this 5-year-old. 6-5 on the board right now. We're going to step aside. Short break in the action. Plenty more stakes action ahead from Hot Springs, Arkansas. For older horses, the Grade 3 Razorback, and on the road to the Kentucky Derby, the Grade 3 Southwest. We'll be back.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Very One.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1-2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1-2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
I'm a firm believer you don't put the saddle on the pedigree. I bought him strictly because of his physique, his conformation. And then when you looked at the pedigree, it was the perfect blend. Run Happy was an incredible, incredible racehorse, being supported by Airdrie Stud, who raises an incredible animal. To breed one of their best mares to him speaks volumes. It ended up producing an incredible result in this horse, and we just hope he runs to his looks and his pedigree.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting. Did it all while racing medication-free. And we saw him set a new track record, winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint. There he is in legendary stall number 1.
I thought he was making his debut at Radio City Music Hall when we saw the opening shot.
This summer is going to
There's
be
nothing
fun
he
at
can't do.
Saratoga, isn't it?
Seeing all of his first crop
Little
debuting.
bonus on the line.
Absolutely.
Summer fun in Saratoga? I don't buy it.
Nothing like going to Claiborne Farm and visiting
I agree.
and seeing those horses there. Just amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get to Lexington in April and plan to go there. Looking forward to it.
I'm already making my summer plans, by the way.
Really? Go to Lexington?
No, for Saratoga.
Not for Saratoga.
Oaklawn
Too much
7th.
fun.
2-turn mile ahead. Again, entry-level allowance. Potomac even money for trainer Steve Asmussen. 7-time winner. And this horse just got beat pretty soundly at this condition.
Yeah, you know.
In New York.
His last race, he ran against a horse, a Caretaker, who was in very improved form for that race. So he didn't really run that badly. My problem is win at Saratoga 2 back, the race he was claimed out of, that was back in August, had a very, very good trip to win, and his performances are a little dressed up by circumstance. So while he can win, I'm not sure he's as good as he might look to some people on paper.
It seems like a real short price for him.
It really does. And you know, you and I were both interested in Home Run Trick inside of him. Now, obviously you don't know coming off the long layoff, but he looks like the controlling speed on paper, no, Richie?
Long time off, too. That's the big concern, right?
Absolutely.
Long time off, but it looks like the controlling speed. And the fact that he's got those stamina-building works. I like when you see works 7 furlongs, 6 furlongs. You don't see a lot of that anymore. It's kind of an old-school move, and maybe that's going to give him the stamina he needs.
He has a race on here just a few starts back that absolutely decimates this field.
Oh, completely. I agree. And, you know, I don't follow Oaklawn closely, and I think it's a kind of track where you probably want to do a lot of trainer work with layoffs, because I think you'll see a lot of these horses that run out of Oaklawn, so when you start the meet there, a number of them running over 6 months, and I'm sure there's plenty of trainers that have them ready, as well as some that don't.
He's the lone one to catch. I mean, he is the speed of this race. He's going to shorten up from 1 1/16 to a mile, but the layoff is a big question. Here's East Moon Lake, trained by Stanley Roberts.
Looks a little bit on the slow side. Another one coming off a long layoff.
Pickford at 9-1.
Pickford, a horse that will be coming from off the pace as well, seems to need to move up in the buyer speed figure department a little bit.
Here's the speedster we were talking about, Home Run Trick, long layoff.
He looks like the speed, and his best races can win it, but it is the layoff.
Even money favorite, Potomac, second off the claim, Steve Asmussen.
Coming in from Aqueduct, Steve's division here, and a horse that certainly can win. I just think he's a short price.
8-time winner. You can thank me later for Randy Matthews.
Coming off his career best buyer figure last time, that was run in the mud. Will he get enough pace to close into?
Parade field, he'd like to see some pace up front. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of it.
Will need pace, and I think there's only one real speed in here.
Sonic Jet, 55-1, biggest price on the board.
Based on his PPs, he will need a Sonic Jet engine to get the money.
Soaring Bird. We always get one of those from Andy during the show. I couldn't wait from where it was going to come
I'll
from.
have plenty of
Al Stahl, Joe Talamo on the 8.
A horse that Andy pointed out to me got eliminated at the start last time, closed well sprinting. Will that translate to stretching out?
19-1 on gigging, Stuart Elliott.
You know, this is a horse that has some races that are fast enough to win. A little bit of a freshening for this one coming from Churchill Downs.
Gumtree Lane coming in from Southern California for Phil Diamano.
And sports one win at Los Alamitos, but he's a horse that looks to me like he'll also have to improve.
And a Delta Downs shipper, Robertino Diodoro, Starship Zeus.
Show a little respect, Greg. This is a New York horse. They took him from us in New York and took him to Delta. 3 wins in 55 starts, but 27 seconds and thirds.
Yeah, lots of seconds. But, hey, earning money, right?
Half the time. He's run second and third more than half of his starts. It's remarkable.
We're going to take a break. Still to come. A President's Day Stakes tripleheader continues from Oaklawn. Grade 1 winner Math Wizard tries to ace his next test against crafty 7-year-old Pioneer Spirit, who is in the form of his life. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Flatter. This prolific son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. He's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. His yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row and sold up to $900,000 at Keeneland September. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
like best about Run Happy Sire. He showed so much brilliance to win the grade ones that he won, different racetracks, and he was competing against the best horses that made it look easy. When I first heard about the bonus, I thought it was good for everybody, buyer or seller, gets everybody on the same page, that there's a lot of enthusiasm with the horse already, and I think that just helps add to it. I think these Run Happies, the public already wants to like them. That's a great thing, and I think that's put a little icing on the cake for the whole deal.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Welcome back to Oaklawn Park. So glad you could join us on this President's Day. Looking ahead to the graded stakes activity at Oaklawn. Still the Razorback ahead for older horses and the Southwest for 3-year-olds. Great start to the stakes racing in the Bayacoa. Go Google yourself. Running down Woe Nelly. Could be a big afternoon for jockey Brian Hernandez riding Shoplifted in the Southwest. The 7th race, not a stakes race, but very good horses, allowance runners, and a good purse of $86,000. Let's take a look at the favorite, Potomac. Gary, Andy and Richie seem to have their concerns about the 6-5 favorite going in. What do you think?
Well, I think he might be overbet a little bit here in this spot because of his connections. Ricardo Santana, Steve Asmussen already hooked up for a winner earlier today.
They're
but
pretty
Potomac,
good together.
He's versatile. He can lay close. He can come off the pace. There's only the one speed horse in here that Richie was talking about. Yeah, lone speed, but I think he lays a little bit closer. Coming off the 7-8 race, it's going to sharpen him up. I think he'll be in contention early on.
Santana riding 6 horses this afternoon, all for Asmussen, including live mounts in the Razorback, and of course, the Southwest with Silver Prospector. And we check in with Nancy.
Thanks so much, Lafitte. Well, I think Gary hit the nail on the head and said that Potomac is tactical. He has won a third of his 21 career starts, and what could be more fitting than a horse named Potomac winning on President's Day? Now, as you mentioned, Santana did celebrate a major milestone yesterday, winning his 500th Oaklawn victory yesterday, and fittingly enough, it was for the barn of Steve Asmussen. And I do like the fact that this runner was by far the most relaxed in the paddock, and it doesn't help that he was also the best looking. Just a side note, 2 horses did have to get a shoe fixed in the paddock. One of those is the number 3 Home Run Trick. He got his left front fixed, and he was also a little nervous when getting that repair. He does come off a 290-day lie-off. The 9 also got a right rear shoe repaired as well. Liffy?
So they have the shoe thing squared away, which is important for Home Run Trick pictured. Yeah, that long layoff, but on paper, Gary, the lone speed, is he a threat to take this field wire to wire?
Absolutely. I don't like that he got as wound up as he did, and a little superstitious, always was, when I had to get a horse reshod just prior to the start of a race. But I think he is capable. It looks like he settled down as he's going into the starting gate right now, so a good sign there.
Quick look at number 8, Soaring Bird. Joe Talamo rode for so many years in Southern California, now making his presence felt here at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if this horse wants to go this far. I think he's better sprinting. He shows one route race on his past form, and it wasn't good, but we'll see today.
Filing into the gate, it is post time. Race number 7, live from Oaklawn. Final check of the tote board reading even money on Potomac for Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana, seeking a second win together on this President's Day program. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Good start for Home Run Trick, who goes for the front from Sonic Jet into the outside Starship Zeus. Then Parade Field and Pickford at the rail. Gigging is wide, but not quite as wide as Gumtree Lane. Potomac is midfield with Soaring Bird and East Moon Lake. And the trailer is You Can Thank Me Later. Home Run Trick and Sonic Jet 1-2 to the backstretch. Home Run Trick leads by 3/4 of a length. Sonic Jet is second, 1.25 lengths. Starship Zeus moves up 3 deep in the third. Then comes Parade Field and Pickford, who rides the rail. Gumtree Lane is the gray for Tyler Bays, midfield and about 4 from the front. He's a length and a half in front of Potomac, Gigging, and Soaring Bird. Then comes the Arkansas bred East Moon Lake, and then 5 lengths last to You Can Thank Me Later. To the half-mile pole, the finish line is the 16th pole, and Home Run Trick trying to get there first. Home Run Trick, a half length in front of Sonic Jet in second. Starship Zeus is third. Pickford has saved every inch of ground. He's 4th and 2 from the front. Gumtree Lane and Parade Field outside of him. Potomac's got to go right now. He's pushed along by Santana, but Soaring Bird at this point is doing a little better than him. Top of the stretch, Home Run Trick, and here comes Starship Zeus, and Pickford rides the rail. So Home Run Trick is the leader. Starship Zeus is second. Pickford is third, but now 3 behind. Soaring Bird, and the top of the stretch, Home Run Trick has the lead. He's a length in front of Starship Zeus. Then comes Pickford and Soaring Bird. Home Run Trick, Starship Zeus. Down to these two. Home Run Trick still strong. Starship Zeus and Pickford. Home Run Trick. Home Run Trick beats Starship Zeus. Pickford third. Soaring Bird fourth.
Maybe it's the shoes. Home Run Trick at 4-1, wire to wire in the 7th race at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, and got rated perfectly by De La Cruz right there, and came home, and they got the short stretch here for the mile races. I came in to help him out. You can push the button a little bit earlier. He was able to open up a little bit of a lead coming into the stretch and lengthened and finished very impressively, Lafitte.
Unraced since Kentucky Derby weekend of last year. And they come back and do that.
Great training job.
The Martin winning trainer. By the way, $5,000 purchase. $5,000 purchase. Home Run Trick, Greg. Wire to wire, taking home the winner's share of this $86,000 purse.
Guys, thanks. Certainly set up perfectly for him. The only speed of the race, and he goes gate to wire for the win, for the 4th win of his career. We're back here in New York for the nightcap coming up. New York Breds, maiden special weight. We were talking off camera. There's a lot of interesting ways to go in this race.
No, I agree. This is a very strong field. There's a lot of first-time starters. Now, there aren't any particularly strong pedigrees in there, but there are really a lot of interesting horses, none more so than More Grateful, the 14, towards the outside.
Yeah, I just wonder about his desire to get it done. It looked like he had the race won last time, and I thought he kind of pulled up when he hit the front.
Yeah, I have a very different opinion of his 2 races. I think some of the gate, he's had some issues with the gate, and maybe drawing from an outside post will help him a little bit from that perspective. He needs to get it done today.
Dangerous Edge, the 13. Next story, you look at the current odds. He's faced some very good horses. This will be, though, his 5th try for George Weaver. Kendrick Carmouche will be back aboard. We're going to start, though, with the 1 here. Here's True Palace, and a son of Palace Malice at 40-1.
His only competitive races were on turf.
First-time starter for Leah Giramati, Krugerrand.
Taking absolutely no money off a string of slowish works.
It's one named after the late Jared Lorenzen, the hefty lefty.
I think he's a dangerous horse. Lorenz took a lot of money in his first race. I think he's going to run well today for the Cassidy Barn.
First-timer for Todd Pletcher, Signified for Calumet Farm.
Shipping in from Palm Beach Downs with a good steady work tab and not taking any money. A little bit concerned about that.
Son of Tonalist, Liquor, first-timer.
Yeah, Liquor, first-time starter for Jimmy Ferraro, and he'll have to show that his pedigree can get the sprint distance.
Double Shot went by. It's his 2nd start. He last raced in June. Here's another firster, Constant Quest.
Double Shot's very dangerous, though. Don't miss that horse. He ran well in his debut.
10 horse, 3.99. Firster for Tom Morley.
Tom Morley came to life, a couple of wins the other day, and first-time starter that will have to show he's precocious.
10-1 on Ernie Banker.
Yet another firster. There's really no pedigree to speak of in any of these firsters, save the 12, Walrus Gumboot.
Jason Service, first-timer, Walrus Gumboot.
Palace Malice turning out to be a decent sire, and it'll be interesting to see how this horse does first time out.
Dangerous Edge, I mentioned briefly for George Weaver, and here's More Grateful.
And More Grateful, I thought last time had the race at his Mercery and still got caught. Maybe Andy's right, just with a cleaner break, gets better position.
And Mike Lezzy on the also eligible, it gets in Saratoga Pal.
Ran well in his debut, but it was a maiden claiming race, so the winner has done well since that race.
All right, so let's start with More Grateful. This was the morning line favorite in 2 starts, 2 seconds, but big drop in terms of the numbers he ran from that first to that second start.
I agree, but I think it's tricky. The first time out, he ran a winning race behind Convict, a first-time starter who showed speed. Last time out, he just didn't break that sharply, and he had to rush up to get position behind what turned out to be a quick pace, relatively speaking, that collapsed. He also spent a good portion of the race on the rail, which wasn't the place to be that day. And while he got caught late, Notorious Flirt, who caught him, had some races that gave him a chance in there, but also he benefited from the race collapsing. I think we're grateful, ran a winning race both times.
No doubt, but he didn't get it done.
He didn't get it done. I agree. It matters.
5-2. He is still favored. We knew there was no chance you were going to get that 6-1. Here's Double Shot. Andy, we went through him very briefly in the post parade, but his debut race, it was very good. The problem is it came June of last year.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of layoffs can go either way, right? He could be a horse that just improves over time. But in reality, that was a strong field. Impetuous, who was third, has run well in subsequent starts, breaking his maiden last time out. He's running Thursday. And a horse named Cleon Jones, who ended up being a stakes winner, he finished 5th or 6th in that race. That was a very live race and a fast figure for an early 2-year-old.
Not a bad outfield either. Cleon Jones, right?
Yeah. He recorded the last out, I believe, in the Mets 1969 World Series.
He did. Manny Franco will be aboard this afternoon. And here's the one named after the late Jared Lorenzen, the former Kentucky quarterback. This will be start number 3. They actually tried him on turf last start. That was September of last year. We've not seen him since.
Yeah, he got bet very heavily into the face of the highly regarded Munaki in his debut. And while he didn't run well, Richie, I find often that horses that get bet strong in their first time, they get bet for a reason. We haven't seen him since he ran in September, and the Cassie Barn has been doing very well in New York over the winter.
Been doing extremely well, and horses have been improving, and you've seen them come off of synthetic and off of turf and run big races off of those races.
Yeah, we've seen a number of them go turf to dirt and do well, and he's taking a lot of money right now. He figures to drift up. The 14-horse More Grateful, likely close to 6-5 by post time.
A few first-timers in this field. One of them for the powerful Jason Service Barn. That's the son of Palace Malice, the 12, Walrus Gumboot. 6-1. What'd you think?
Where does the name come from, boys?
Tell us.
The dam is a giveaway, Juju Eyeballs. The Beatles come together.
Really?
Walrus Gumboot, Juju Eyeballs.
Tie it together for us.
They're part lyrics in the song Come Together. Both of them are. I like that.
Well, you were looking at lyrics.
I
was
understand.
Looking at
Richie listens to Lawrence Welk.
I wanted you to sing it for us. I have all the albums, but I didn't know all the words.
I like the horse, though. I picked him. I just like the pedigree.
Despite not being a Beatles fan.
No, well, I'm not. I'm sorry, but that's your generation, not mine.
I know. You're 80.
Not a Beatles fan?
I'm a Beatles fan, but I couldn't dissect the lyrics for you.
Yeah. When the Lawrence Welk band used to crank up some of those Beatles tunes, Richie was all over it.
And the 1 and the 2.
But I do think this horse is dangerous. And an interesting thing about Walrus Gumboot is that Jose Lescano is riding. Now, you never know for sure why a rider ends up on one horse over another, but he rode the number 14 More Grateful last time, and now he's riding a firster Wallace Gumboot. You have to think that's not a bad sign, right?
I feel like you're in the movie Yesterday right now, don't you?
But
yes, exactly.
I think it has a lot to do, though, too, with the relationship with Jason Service and the success they have there. But I've been impressed with the Palace Malices. This is a sire that, this is part of his first crop, and I think they've really done well so far.
The dam ran well on the dirt. She was a little better on the turf, and the Palace Mouse has run well on the turf. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, but I agree. It's probably about the relationship.
Of the first-timers, that's the one that you think?
I mean, looking through them, they're really, you never know. A horse can have no pedigree at all and run well, and a good pedigree and not be able to run. But there really hasn't been much production from any of the broodmares in here. And the Todd Pletcher firster Signified, this horse worked a very mediocre 10 2/5, the 2-year-old sale. That's why he sold so cheaply. I just didn't see anything that caught your eye. And also,
that's the 4 Signified, huge number at 14-1.
And horses like the 7, 14, and even the 15 that you mentioned earlier, Greg, these horses ran so well in their maiden races that I don't think it's going to be a bad race. It's going to take a good firster in all likelihood to win this race.
Now, this one, there is the 7 Rin. Very good first time out for David Donk. It's Manny Franco aboard today. But again, that was June of last summer at Belmont. So you have to question the layoff here.
You do have to question the layoff. Now, a positive would be to say, well, this horse ran well, Richie, first time out, so you know he can run well fresh. But the question, of course, is where has he been?
Well, absolutely. And Dave Donk's not a guy noted for cranking his horses up for their debut or subsequently off a layoff. Gets a bug boy that I've been very interested in. Lee Cardenas is really...
he's not riding, actually. He was injured.
Manny
Franco's aboard.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he just sprained his wrist. He was on a horse whose saddle slipped in the workouts yesterday morning. He'll be back in a
okay,
week
well, thank you. I was unaware of that. But
he is good, though.
I think that kid's got a future, sees a race really well for a young guy. And he gets a pretty able replacement here in Manny Franco.
8-5 favor. There he is, the 14. More Grateful start number 3 will third time be the charm. With trainer Brad Cox, we send it upstairs for the nightcap from New York on America's Day at the races. Here's John Imbrial with the call.
Field of 13, set to go 6 furlongs in the nightcap. And they're all in line. And they're off. There goes 3.99 and Walrus Gumboot. Walrus Gumboot has the lead. 3.99 is racing in second, and Saratoga Pal is next in third. Double Shot is down at the rail in fourth. Pass there by Ernie Banker, and on the outside is Dangerous Edge. Then we come back to More Grateful, who is now racing in sixth. Double Shot is back in seventh. Alongside is Constant Quest in eighth. Lorenzen is in ninth, with Dignified next in 10th. It's 4 lengths to Liquor in 11th. And at the back are Krugerrand and True Palace, the opening quarter in 22 and 2. Walrus Gumboot and Saratoga Pal, those two are heads apart at the top of the stretch. The half was running 46 and 1. It is Walrus Gumboot who has a 3-length lead. Gaining ground on the outside now is More Grateful as they pass the 8th pole. Walrus Gumboot and More Grateful, and More Grateful has taken over the lead. Then Walrus Gumboot, a late move here by Double Shot, but More Grateful has won it. Jorge Vargas Jr. takes the late double, a long shot in the 8th, the favorite here in the 9th.
More Grateful, third time is the charm, gets the job done for the Brad Cox barn.
And a late double goes to Jorge Vargas, who got the pace to run into, got a good trip, and he just proved best. No big surprise, Richie.
Yeah, but I think what you said was spot on. Just him getting away a bit cleaner, finding himself in a little better position. And certainly he did get the pace to run it, but he ran very professionally, and maybe I was completely wrong with my assessment, thinking he didn't want to get it done.
Well, to be fair, I'm here every day. You're not always here watching the races as acutely as I am, and I respect your opinion on watching races as much as anybody. But, you know, I think what will be missed here is the good race that your pick here, the 12 Walrus Gumboot ran, who may have gotten beat for third, because he was involved setting a fast pace, and this race just incinerated in the last 16th of the mile. I mean, everybody that came at the end was running, and he easily survived the pace duel.
But he was sailing along in front, too. He looked like he was really enjoying himself, but just a little too quick for the first time in this kind of competition.
Keep your eyes on him next time out. Another first Ernie Banker figures in the trifecta here for John Kimmel, son of Central Banker. It's been such a successful early sire.
No, he made a
in New York.
Good first fall from this dam, actually. Made a nice run. And you listen, the David Donk horse we talked about, Double Shot, ran well. This was a strong race. I mean, you know, this is sometimes you see a New York bred maiden race, and it's not you see an open maiden race, and it's not a very good race. This was an unusually tough race. This horse is good, More Grateful.
Good full field, too. 14 horses, good race, very competitive, fun to watch.
Can you sing that Beatles line to us to break?
Oh, no. He's got Walrus Gumboot. I was listening to the one. It's a great version of John Lennon singing at the Garden. It's on YouTube.
What were they doing to come up with those lyrics?
No comment.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. The Razorback is next. Math Wizard. From maiden claimer to grade 1 winner. And how about Jovia? Third in last year's Belmont. Was a winner in his 4-year-old debut. Can he go back-to-back for Gregory Sacco? Stay with us.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms has sired over 70% winners from starters. His top runners include multiple stakes winner and grade 3 victor Recruiting Ready, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Taylor Spirit, and juvenile stakes winner South Bend. In the Pennsylvania Derby, Algorithms notched his first grade 1 winner with a thrilling victory by Math Wizard. In the ring, his juvenile sold up to $275,000. Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy is
vacation? No problem. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Under overcast skies, welcome back to Hot Springs, Arkansas. President's Day racing from Oaklawn Park, and you can feel the enthusiasm start to build with the main events just around the corner. The Razorback in 11 minutes. You remember last year's edition of the Razorback? Cold front, 8-5 post time favorite. He broke from Neptune post 14. No worries. Broke sharp, angled over, terrific handling from John Velasquez, and just enough to hold off the late flying Copper Bullet. Again, breaking from post 14, caught a flyer, angled in, and was able to win that Razorback. 6 weeks later, Cold Front was in Dubai, racing in the prestigious Godolphin Mile, another far outside post. Jose Ortiz this time. How does he get up? In a thriller over Heavy Metal, Cold Front wins the Godolphin Mile in the biggest win of his career. You see, the point is with the Razorback, as good of a race as it is, it can lead to even bigger and better. You go back to 2017, Gunrunner won here. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic and was, of course, Horse of the Year, Gary. What do you make of the talent in this year's Razorback?
I think it's an outstanding group of horses. And, yeah, you can use this race as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. I wouldn't call it just a stepping stone, but these top trainers, when they have success in a race like this, they've already got something mapped out for 6 weeks down the road. So maybe we'll see one of these horses competing in Dubai as well.
There's the field. Grade 3 Razorback, 11 deep, older horses running a mile and a 16th. The purse, $500,000. Pioneer Spirit, morning line favorite at 5-2. Look at that big overlay at 7-1. Warriors Charge, the favorite, at 5-2. Take another look at number 2, Math Wizard, currently 5-1. First of 3 millionaires in the field, Gary. Claim to fame, 31-1 upset win in last September's $1 million Pennsylvania Derby. Was this a fluke, or is this what we should expect from Math Wizard moving forward?
You know what? He was a big price that day, 30-1. Came back, same kind of odds in the Breeders' Cup. When he flops, he really flops. But he has the talent when he runs his A game. He competes with the best. I mean, look at some of the horses he beat in the Pennsylvania Derby. War of Will for one of them. And just, you know, when he runs the big one, I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
You don't trust him.
When his A game doesn't show up, it really doesn't. He doesn't even get off the bench.
Hall of Famer Javier Castellano rides for the first time, 5-1. And then you have the local Razorback preps. The 5th season, so many horses entered. They had to split into 2 divisions. This is the first division on January 25th, Gary. An exciting finish here between Guess Sweet and Snapper Sinclair. They're both back.
Yeah, 2 warriors here. And don't forget today, as I mentioned earlier on, that this race right here, they were using the short finish line. When I say that, there's 2 finish lines there. Today's route is a mile and a 16th, so he's got an extra 16th of a mile to deal with in today's race.
90 minutes later, second division of the 5th season. 4 horses exiting to run in today's Razorback. Pioneer Spirit, Bank It, diving to the wire together late.
Yeah, and Pioneer Spirit, he's just an old warrior. He gets his trip every time. He fights hard. My question today, does the mile and a 16th affect him in a negative way?
Second division of the 5th season, slightly faster than the first. 6 horses exiting the 5th season races for the Razorback. Greg, first run in 1960, the Grade 3 Razorback. Last year produced a Godolphin Mile winner. This year, who knows?
And, of course, a major prep for the Oaklawn Handicap coming up on April the 18th as we approach the 6-minute mark to post. Thank you, Lafitte. Gary, we'll get back to you guys in just a moment. And some very talented, accomplished older horses here in this field, including the horse who's our favorite right now, Warriors Charge for Brad Cox.
Now, this is a very, very exciting race. And Warriors Charge, the question with him is pace. He's a horse that wants to hear his feet rattle, and he's got 2 significant speeds inside of him. I got to tell you, this is a sensational race.
He was a 2-time stakes winner at this meet last year, Warriors Charge. He's going to be making his 4-year-old debut. Post parade here coming up in just a moment. And we're going to kick things off here in just a second with Exulting as you take a look at prices from New York. More Grateful breaks through. Start number 3. Not a big surprise in the nightcap from New York.
No, very logical result. 14-7. We talked about it beforehand. Nice performance. But keep your eyes out for Walrus Gumboot when he comes back. He ran well to be 4th, despite Richie picking him.
So 14-7,
carried Richie around,
11
still finished 4th.
To close out the Aqueduct action. But our main event still coming up here. Grade 3 Razorback next. in the handicap division and our Derby prep, the Grade 3 Southwest.
They're taking their time getting the post parade, but then it'll take 2 seconds, a horse.
It's always the way it works. 29-1 here is exulting for Mike Maker.
He goes turf to dirt. He will get pace to close into, but he's a better one-turn horse, even though he's been successful at 2.
Math Wizard, we all know by now, he was in the same 16 maiden claiming race as Maximum Security. He became a Grade 1 winner.
Strongest maiden 16 in history. This horse has been training with enthusiasm in South Florida, and he also gets pace to close into.
Bank it for Steve Asmussen. He was just beat ahead to Pioneer Spirit here at Oaklawn.
He's turned into a very nice closing 2-turn horse, and I think he gets the pace to run out, and he's my top choice.
And we have some time. We have not even seen Bankit yet on the screen. He's at 9-2 right now. They slowed things down on us.
The New York bred Bankit.
Yeah, Central Banker offspring here. There he is on the board with Ricardo Santana Jr., Steve Asmussen's main man in the irons today.
Those Central Bankers are everywhere.
Done phenomenal. Number 2 sire last year in New York. As we look at Joe Villa, Gregory Sacco, and coming off a win.
It's a nice, consistent horse. Loved his comeback race. Showed he can stay. Finished 3rd in the Belmont. And he's versatile.
That was his first start since the Belmont, that victory. Pioneer Spirit for Robertino Diodoro. He's won 3 in a row.
Does he find himself in the middle of a speed sandwich with Joe Villa inside of him and Warriors Charge outside of him? Talented, cool horse, but he has a tough trip ahead of him.
Here is part of that speed scenario. Warriors Charge, Brad Cox. He's been off since December.
A horse that showed he's got a lot of class, a lot of ability, but will the pace be a play against him?
Guest Sweet, he won in the mud in his last start at Oaklawn.
My man, the Mig, likes this horse, and while I'm a little bit iffy, he's a crazy price at 45-1 right now. He's a big overlay.
Rated R Superstar, he had a big win on our show last year at 14-1 in the Essex handicap from Oaklawn.
Yeah, and he didn't run too well in the prep for this in the 5th season. He's going to have to improve, find last year's form.
Campaign we see next at 14-1, trained by John Sadler.
Yeah, he may want an extra half mile. A mile and 16th, he might just start warming up. But he did win last time. Albeit on a sloppy track, he ran this distance.
And we have the top 2 finishers from the Risen Star from 2018 right next door to each other. Here's Snapper Sinclair. He was 2nd in that race a couple of years ago.
And just run down last time with the short stretch. You just kind of have a hard time seeing the trip he's going to get, maybe kind of wide chasing.
And Bravazar, our Risen Star winner from 2018. He was 2nd in the Preakness against Justify.
Just don't know what this horse has left in the tank. I'm glad to see Wayne Lucas took a more conservative approach instead of going to races like the Saudi Cup and the Dubai World Cup.
Well, Pioneer Spirit, so he has won 3 in a row. This was a horse who was put in for a claiming tag of $150,000 early November. A 7-year-old. You don't see 7-year-olds claim for that kind of price tag that often. Robertino Diodoro saw it late the night before at Turf Paradise and put a group together to get him.
And you don't see horses claim for $150,000, period. I mean, it's a very rare thing. And this is a horse that has really been well-traveled. We saw him running in New York here a couple of years ago. I remember he had a very big race going a mile here at Aqueduct to get a victory. It's a really nice hard knocker. But, Richie, what kind of trip is he going to get with Joe Villa inside of him and Warriors Charge outside of him? And isn't he best when he can control?
It looks like he'd be best to control. You know, it's interesting. Sometimes you get these races where it looks like a lot of speed on paper and everybody overthinks it. Sometimes you wind up with less pace because of that.
Meanwhile, Math Wizard, the 2, he's at 5-1, Grade 1 winner of the Pennsylvania Derby. He makes his 4-year-old debut.
And Safi Joseph has done a tremendous job with his horses. He's winning at a super high percentage. And I don't even think this one ran that badly in the Breeders' Cup Classic in finishing 5th.
So Javier Castellano will be in the irons again post 2 for Math Wizard as we check in with Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much. Now, very impressive effort in the graded stake or the stakes debut. A very impressive 4th. Very nice comeback also in that allowance down at the fairgrounds. I know we were just commenting on the warm-up. He was really on his toes. What are your thoughts about his performance today?
He looks amazing. Brad Cox has him just glowing right now. He's carrying good weight. He's training well. We're expecting a good performance today.
So you're kind of a fan of Oaklawn, been here several times. What are your thoughts on just the crowds and everything? You're normally at the sales and kind of behind the scenes, but to come to the races as a fan and kind of as a stable agent and racing manager, what are your thoughts about Oaklawn in general is?
I love Oaklawn. I think it's one of the greatest tracks in the country. The crowd here is just unbelievable. They do the corned beef day, you know, and 50-cent beers. It's just, it's really what racing is meant to be like. And I just love coming here and reminding myself of why I fell in love with racing.
Well, you can come handicap with me one day. Lafitte, we'll send it back to you.
She has the magic touch, doesn't she, Liz Crow? Guys were just talking about, strategy in this situation with Pioneer Spirit, the morning line favorite, hanging up there, Gary, at 5-1. He's a good racehorse. He does his best racing when he's forwardly placed. But as they mentioned, he has speed to his outside and speed to his inside. Does Pioneer Spirit, ridden by David Cohen, the leading rider. If you're David Cohen, what do you do?
I ride aggressive. I get him away from there, make sure I get a clean break. I let the other riders know what my intentions are as soon as I leave the gate. Be active on him, and nobody else hopefully will want to get involved with him. You've got to ride him like he's the best horse. That's his style of running. And then you pray a lot the last 16th of a mile.
6-1 for the morning line favorite, Pioneer Spirit. Horses warming up for this Grade 3 Razorback. How about Jovia? Best known for running third in the Belmont Stakes and idle for 7 months, Gary. But when he returned last month at Aqueduct, he looked good.
He looked really nice in this race. Strong finish here, and that's his deal. If he can get a clean break, get a good trip, sitting and stalking, he may get the pace that he needs to come running late.
How aggressive do you expect Junior Alvarado to ride him right from the start?
I don't think he'll be overly aggressive. I think he can secure a good position with him, but I don't think he's going to go crazy early on.
Very intriguing, the tactics for the riders early on. Jovia, Junior Alvarado, Pioneer Spirit, David Cohen, and Warriors Charge, Florent Giroux. And the faster the pace is, maybe it helps out Math Wizard, Gary, the former $25,000 claimer turned millionaire. These days, you dismiss anything trainer Safi Joseph Saddles at your own risk as a handicapper.
Yeah, up-and-coming trainer's doing a great job. He's getting more and more horses. He's done a great job with this horse. And these types of horses are frustrating to ride. They can be frustrating to train because you don't know what's going to show up. But as I said earlier, when he shows up, it's a big race from him. Maybe he's sitting on a big race today. Thing about him is he can sit about anywhere. He closed into an extremely slow pace in the Pennsylvania Derby. Tough to close into those slow paces. He's going to get a good pace to run out today.
Javier Castellano aboard. Date with Answer in the Southwest. Math Wizard. Here's Bankit, Steve Asmussen. He's done a terrific job bringing him along, Gary. Very patient. This is a dangerous closer with a bright future, hanging up there at 5-1.
Yeah, and I know Andy likes him. I like him as well. I like him to run 1, 2, 3 in here. Again, he's going to get an excellent trip. Well drawn down in the 3-hole. Santana can save ground, be patient with him, and come running. He's got that extra 16th of a mile today, which I think is key here.
Bankit, and then Snapper Sinclair towards the outside, also trained by Asmussen. Tough, honest, versatile, ran very well in that 5th season First Division in defeat to Guess Sweet.
Hey, we talked about how good this race is, how competitive it is. I really wouldn't be surprised with anybody in the winner's circle here.
We're all set. Post time for the Razorback. Vic Stauffer standing by.
2 more. Bravazzo and Warriors Charge. They're at the post. They're off. Warriors charges, asks for speed and goes to the front from Guess Sweet, Jovia, and Pioneer Spirit. Snapper Sinclair could be wide. Pioneer Spirit might have to check into a tight spot, and he did because Jovia just knocked him out of the way. And now he'll have to sit in third. Then comes Bankit at the rail and Guess Sweet. Bravazzo and Exalting are next. Then comes Math Wizard to the backstretch with Rated R Superstar, and far behind the field is Campaign. An eventful first quarter mile of the 61st Razorback Handicap. Warriors Charge had none of that, though, and he's 3/4 of a length in front of Jovia in second. Pioneer Spirit now recovers to race third at the rail, and he moves up and puts his white blinkers into second. 2.5 lengths to Snapper Sinclair. Bankit's at the rail fifth with 4 to make up. Then comes Bravazzo and Exalting. Between horses, Guess Sweet. To the outside and Math Wizard. Then Rated R Superstar, and Campaign is 15 lengths last as they leave the backstretch with Warriors Charge 3 furlongs from the money. Warriors Charge, high cruising speed out there. Jovia and Pioneer Spirit together second and third. Bankit slips off the rail and comes on fourth, and here's Bankit within 2 of the front. Bravazzo is outside of him. Top of the stretch, Warriors Charge has the lead. Bankit is beginning to run after him in second. To the outside and Snapper Sinclair, his stablemate, and they run to the top of the stretch in the Razorback, and Warriors Charge still leads. Snapper Sinclair and Bankit alongside, and here's Bankit to change. take over the lead from Warriors Charge. Warriors Charge is going to battle right back. Bank it outside. Warriors Charge inside. Look at him throw down. Warriors Charge. Bank it. Warriors Charge. Yes! Warriors Charge turned away Bankett and won the Razorback. Maybe Pioneer Spirit for third.
Wow. All guts, heart, and determination. Warriors Charge digs in, repels the late charge from Bankett to take down the 2020 $500,000 Razorback.
And Florent Giroux, very, very aggressive, leaving the starting gate. He was the one who took the ball and ran with it, got a nice little breather coming around the turn. Digs back in here in the last 16th of a mile. It looked like Bankett was going to run
How
right by.
does he not go by?
That's called heart, all heart. Bankett had a good trip in there, and that is just all heart right there.
Let's go back to the start. You heard Vic Stauffer reference Warriors Charge and Florent Giroux, how aggressive he was sending him. He was able to outfoot Jovia and Pioneer Spirit to the first turn, and it was a rough and tumble run into the first turn in this Razorback.
Yeah,
Gary.
look, we're sitting just going into the first turn in the infield, and there was a lot of screaming, hollering from these jocks going in there. It was tight. Florent's coming over right here. Everything's cool. Everything's good. Now, as you see the two horses coming out right there, there's a hard hit right there.
Jovia came out and knocked Pioneer Spirit sideways. Fortunate we didn't have an incident.
Yeah, Pioneer Spirit, then all of a sudden we see Cohen take back, go to the inside right here. So rough run into the first turn, no inquiry right now.
Thriller in this Razorback. Warriors Charge training up a storm, Greg, and runs accordingly. Warriors Charge takes down the Razorback.
Lafitte, thanks. He's now won 4 of his last 5 starts. Brad Cox said this horse thriving, really happy coming into this race, and he proved it here with his 4-year-old debut.
Well, we saw Florent Giroux do this on Saturday in the Risen Star with Mr. Monomoy. He took no prisoners. He wanted the front, and the speed is always dangerous. Rich, this is a great horse race and terrific performance by both the winner and the runner-up.
Absolutely, and I think Gary hit the nail on the head. Come out running, come out aggressive. Let those other guys know this is what I'm doing, adjust around me. That's what Florent Giroux did. He did it so well. The incident in the first turn was more for Jovia coming out. Right here, it looks like he's collared. But I think riders have so much confidence riding for a guy like Brad Cox because his horses keep finding. He gets them there. They got fitness, they get air, and they keep fighting. This looks like a bigger, stronger version of a very good 3-year-old we saw last year in Warriors Charge. He's a player.
No, I agree. I think he's a very talented runner. I mean, you look at his Preakness. This horse, without a ton of seasoning, ran a sensational race to finish 4th in the Preakness. He is a player in the handicap division going forward.
Big effort. His first start of his 4-year-old campaign. Looks like he's getting bigger, stronger, and certainly able to hold on that trouble into that first turn. It was Jovia slamming Pioneer Spirit.
Well, the 6 is going to clear both Pioneer Spirit and Jovia. Junior Alvarado here is going to make a bit of a right-hand turn to make sure he secures, jumps over the winner's heel just a little bit, and kind of knocks Pioneer Spirit out into the other horses.
I have a question for you, Richie. Junior Alvarado and David Cohen have a lot of experience riding against each other because David Cohen rode a lot in New York.
Sure.
I wonder if that came into play a little bit there. Because David can be a tough rider. He's not. He doesn't take any prisoners out there either.
He's going to race right, and he's going to try to put you in a spot. And Junior was making sure he secured that spot. Now, it was a little abrupter than you'd like to see.
That's the kind of thing where, and Jovia finished, I think, well back in the pack, if not last. But you do wonder if the stewards look at that and think the Junior's a little over-aggressive. I don't want to knock him. I like Junior a lot as a rider.
I think he's riding
but
terrific.
He was very aggressive.
Gave a great ride in the other division of the Risen Star the other day. But he kind of made sure he secured that second over path.
Here's the thing, though. Did it end up mattering?
Well, did it cost Pioneer Spirit, who had to duck back to the inside?
Well, it may have cost him some, but
beaten so badly for second in the win that I think the best he was ever going to finish was 3rd.
In defeat, obviously, it's all about this horse right here, but Bankett runs very big for Steve Asmussen. In the end, can't catch this one. Warriors Charge. He finds more late, goes gate to wire for the victory here in the Grade 3 Razorback, and I would think we're going to see him April 18th for the Oaklawn Handicap.
Well, you'll see him in the Oaklawn Handicap, and listen, I'm sure the connections are thinking of race like the Met Mile on Belmont Stakes Day, and Warriors Charge, it's kind of cool. You can see a Munnings beating a Central Banker, not the names you necessarily expect to see. It's a good horse. Good horse.
4 wins now for Mate Starts. He is 3 for 5 at Oaklawn for 10 Strike Racing. Madaket Stables, trained by Brad Cox. Florent Giroux aboard for the winning ride. Still to come. On the Derby Trail, 10 points to the winner to get into the starting gate that first Saturday in May in the Grade 3 Southwest. Answer In, making his 3-year-old debut for trainer Brad Cox. We'll see if his 3-year-old debut can be a winning one. That is still to come. Who will he face in this race? A trio of runners from the Barna Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen, Gold Street, and Silver Prospector. Gold Street trying to win a 4th in a row. Silver Prospector, he has the best credentials in the race. He beat Tiz the Law in the Kentucky Jockey Club. We'll be back. The Southwest is next.
Smiling Tigers Championship Sire Performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Cal-bred.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground on first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
In the middle of the track, Smarty Jones now up to engage. Wildcat Shoes for the lead. To the middle of the track, 2 down, Automatic is next. In on the outside, Pro Prado now coming on. The leader is Smarty Jones. 2 down, Automatic second. Pro Prado to the outside. They drive for the wire. Smarty Jones leads it. Here's 2 down, Automatic. Pro Prado. Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4.
Didn't know how good he was just yet, did we? Smarty Jones blazing the trail from Oaklawn to a near Triple Crown miss, winning the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes. And since Smarty Jones in 2004, 11 of the last 16 Southwest winners have run in the Kentucky Derby. None have won since Smarty, but several have done quite well. Dennis O'Cork running third 2008. More recently, sudden breaking news, and my boy Jack both running fifth. The last time we were here at Oaklawn Park was for last year's Arkansas Derby, a race that produced the morning line favorite, post-time favorite, and the eventual winner for the Kentucky Derby. It really doesn't sound all that odd until you recognize that distinction belonged to 3 different horses: Omaha Beach, Improbable, and Country House. Point is, last year's Arkansas Derby had its fingerprints all over the Kentucky Derby. So the question today is, how productive will this year's series of preps at Oaklawn be for the Kentucky Derby? We'll find out in less than 3 months. What we do know today is that we have a very competitive group for the Southwest Stakes and several key Derby prep races in the near future. But it's a Southwest with a twist, Gary, in that it's this big purse, $750,000, but only 15 points, only 10 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. So what does that mean for owners and trainers of Kentucky Derby prospects exiting the Southwest from a point standpoint?
You know, any point that you get on the road to the Kentucky Derby, it means something, because if something goes wrong in a race and you don't get the opportunity to get a better finishing position, no points, you're forced into running in a race that you may not want to run in just to earn the points. But there's a few guys out there that are waiting for one prep race to get them to the Kentucky Derby. So those horses, it's even more urgent that they get the money and win, or they're not going to the Kentucky Derby.
And some of those big point races just around the corner here at Oaklawn, the Rebel Stakes, 50 points go to the winner, and the Arkansas Derby, where 100 points go to the winner. Another major subplot of today's Southwest, some of the world-class trainers involved. Steve Asmussen, represented by 3 horses. Let's start with Gold Street, wire-to-wire winner of the local prep, the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, and he ran a heck of a race in here. He got away with an extremely slow pace in that race. It was on a sloppy racetrack, had things his own way. But I think this colt has a lot of quality, and I think he can move forward again today.
More on Gold Street and his jockey, Martin Garcia, in just a moment. Asmussen also has Silver Prospector. He's a threat, winner of the prestigious Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill Downs. Off the board, though, at 2-1 in the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, and, it's a race. Maybe you can throw it out. The thing about the Steve Asmussen horses is that they can rebound. He goes back to the barn. He figures out something that he may try different with them, change a little bit of strategy, back to the drawing board. So another contender for the Asmussen barn.
As good as Gold Street was in the Smarty Jones, Asmussen quick to point out how things might change with added distance for Silver Prospector and Segway for Shoplifted as well. Shoplifted, third member of Asmussen's Southwest team, winner of the Springboard Mile. Shoplifted. If you ignore those 2 races out at Santa Anita last fall, Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Grade 1 American Pharoah, on that heavy, tiring course, like he's actually been pretty good, Shoplifted.
Yeah, he has, and I think you can throw a lot of those races out late in the year at Santa Anita. It was deep. A lot of the horses that came from back east or the Midwest weren't handling that track well. It was very tiring, very demanding. His horses normally really step forward from their 2-year-old season to their 3-year-old season. Look for him to be heavily involved in the Derby.
And Asmussen's 3-pronged attack. As for Asmussen himself, just looking to pad his stats. Look at the damage he did here last year. 8 total stakes victories, Gary. 6 of the graded variety. 3 with eventual champions Midnight Bisou, winning the Azeri and the Apple Blossom. Matoli winning the Count Fleet. And he will be tough in this upcoming Southwest. But you know what? So will Answer In, who is getting crushed at the windows. Opened up at 3-1 on the morning line. Now 9-5. Answer In, Gary, relatively light in experience, but very, very talented.
Yeah, and another one from the talented Brad Cox barn. Big, good-looking colt you see there. He's only raced 3 times, lightly raced, and we'll see what he can do against the better company today.
Answer In, trained by Brad Cox, looking to go back-to-back. Cox with the victory in the Razorback, and now Answer In at 9-5 for this upcoming Southwest Stakes. Nancy standing by live with trainer Brad Cox.
Winning trainer Brad Cox in the Razorback with Warriors Charge. Definitely charged to the front out of the gate, shot like a rocket, scored gate to wire, now has that black type to him. Brad, I'm sorry, this game can definitely show you what the highs and lows are about, but this is definitely a high on the day.
Yeah, for sure, it's a tough day. But, his horse came out on top. I was proud of him. He's training well, and he showed up today. Very proud of the horse.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very competitive field and a great confident ride by Florent Giroux and a very impressive horse. Can we maybe say that we might see him in the Essex and even onto the Oaklawn Handicap?
Yeah, without a doubt, he'll we'll keep him here in point for one of those races. And, as long as he comes out of it in good order, he's a solid horse. He obviously likes Oaklawn. That means a lot when you're running on this track. And Florent has a lot of confidence in him, like you said. So we'll hopefully in the near future, he'll be in this paddock soon. So we'll see what happens.
Well, congratulations, and we wish you luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks, Nancy. Appreciate it.
Guys?
Could hear some of the emotion in his voice, Brad Cox, the loss of Taraz earlier today, and a Razorback win. But certainly you can understand where his feelings are, where his emotions are, and doing everything he possibly can to show up here, to do the interview. And his horse is running at a very high level here, as always at Oaklawn. Cox with the win in the Razorback, and now he has the favorite Answer in the Southwest Stakes. You take another look at Gold Street, though. Despite the fact he's on a serious winning streak, he does have his critics, not among them his jockey, Martin Garcia. After sprinting in his first 5 starts, Gold Street stretched out successfully in the Kentucky Derby Prep. The Smarty Jones in his latest start.
It is Gold Street to win the Smarty Jones.
Martin Garcia rode Gold Street for the first time in the Smarty Jones. Garcia had been based in California for 15 years before moving east. He feels fortunate to have a mount on such a promising 3-year-old in his first season at Oaklawn.
I was pretty lucky to be in top of him that day.
I think Mr. Steve, they have too many good horses, and then he just give me the chance, and then I just take out that big opportunity.
Skeptics will tell you Gold Street has distance limitations, or his 3 fastest races, all wins by the way, were all on wet tracks. Garcia only knows how easily he handled his 2-turn debut and relishes the thought of riding Gold Street again on a stage one step closer to the Kentucky Derby.
The Southwest will tell more about, see if he's gonna keep going the distance. No doubt about it. He's a really good horse, and then we just hope that he can go that distance.
Martin Garcia, who's ridden in 4 Kentucky Derbies for Bob Baffert, won a Preakness for Baffert with Looking at Lucky, knows all about these big moments. Garcia aboard Gold Street. How far can he carry his speed? Will the winning streak continue? We'll find out in about 14 minutes as the road to the Arkansas Derby continues from Oaklawn, getting closer and closer to the Southwest.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the auction ring, Warfront was the #1 sire by highest average at Keeneland September, with yearlings commanding prices up to $2.9 million. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
He's trained some of the greatest racehorses of this generation.
And it's all Curlin in the race of the year for Horse of the Year. Rachel Alexandra, an exquisite filly and a thrill to see. Matoli's a monster!
But Steve Asmussen's never won the race. He's yet to win a Kentucky Derby. Maybe that changes this spring. Maybe with one of 3 colts he's about to unleash.
Shoplifted pulls away impressively.
Silver Prospector got it.
Gold Street to win the Smarty Jones. There's a $750,000 purse on the line, attracting the very best. Happy President's Day. The Southwest Stakes is next.
Crowd fired up, energized, enthused for this upcoming Southwest Stakes, key stepping stone en route to the Arkansas Derby. 17 points available for the Southwest Stakes, 10 to the winner. There you see the Currents point standings, with Mr. Monomoy following his victory in the Risen Star over the Victory Modernist, picking up 50, his win in the 2nd division of the Risen Star. Those races offering the serious points when we get to races like the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. So don't worry about the points too much just yet. But talking about trainer Steve Asmussen, a guy who's won just about every major horse race under the sun, the Derby has eluded him. He's been close, Curlin 3rd in 2007, looking at least 2nd a couple of years back. For him, and we still have a ways to go, but what do you think that means, that he has not yet captured a Derby? What would a Derby win eventually mean?
I think it would mean the world to him. His career is not going to be defined by if he doesn't win a Kentucky Derby, because he's already put his name in the records book, and he's in Saratoga at the Hall of Fame, and it's just going to make him feel better if he can finally get that Kentucky Derby under his belt. Maybe this year will be the year.
Asmussen went 3 in here, Greg, but he does not have the favorite. That distinction belongs to Brad Cox, with Answer In at 2-1 as we are gearing up for a post parade.
Well, Feet, thanks. And look how long it took another great in the history of this sport, Bill Mott, to get one, although he said he'd love to get one on their own merits this time. Of course, we saw him win one of the divisions of the Risen Star with a horse who may get that for him. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I like.
Long way to go.
I've got Modernist solidified in the 20th position in this year's Kentucky Derby. We'll see if he can move to 19th or 18th.
Horses have a long way to still improve before we get to that first Saturday in May. 2-1 favorite is Answer In for Brad Cox in here. And as the guys mentioned, look, Steve Asmussen, he has 3 in here, and he has one of the primary speeds, Mig. With Gold Street, he has said we don't plan at all on taking him back.
No, and you shouldn't. He's been effective showing speed. Don't take a horse's weapon away. His weapon is his speed.
And here's the other speed. Who's the quicker of the two? This is Wells Bayou.
Oh, I think it's interesting. And you're right. Wells Bayou's got to go from the rail, and we've seen Florent Geroux be aggressive. We'll see. He gets a real acid test here.
So Steve Asmussen, he has 3 in the field. They're all right next door to each other in the starting gate. And here's the first of them, Silver Prospector.
Horse that I think is going to appreciate the continual stretch out. He's only had 2 races on fast tracks, a win and a good third. And Ricardo Santana, his go-to guy, sticks.
He's the only graded stakes winner in the field as well. Here's Shoplifted, another one from the Asmussen barn with Brian Hernandez Jr.
Yeah, I don't really know that he's, he did get the best of the favorite Answer In with the right trip in the Springboard Mile. I don't know if he gets better, though, with more distance.
Gold Street, again for Asmussen. He's won 3 in a row. They have all come on off tracks, though.
Yeah, Martin Garcia won this race with Conveyance back in 2010. He says he's a good horse. He should have a good handle on what a good horse is, as Mendes sat on for Baffert.
D. Wayne Lucas with a horse who broke his maiden at Saratoga last summer as a 2-year-old.
Richie's long shot selection. Greg has given him 200-1 on him winning the race. He did run his best race last time off the layoff, but sprinting.
Chase Tracker, he's actually going to cut back in distance for his 3-year-old debut.
And a horse they've thought highly of from last year as a 2-year-old. He's going to have to show that he's made that step from 2 to 3.
Villainous coming off a maiden win at Oaklawn, but he was very green in the stretch.
And he did it on a sloppy track. But listen, a big step in the right direction for him.
Tai Shan, we will see next. It's 17-1 on the board for Richard Baltus. Mario Gutierrez, former Kentucky Derby winner in the irons.
Well beaten in the sham. He's going to have to show he can class up with these kind.
And the favorite on the outside for Brad Cox, who gets some weight from the others in here as well. Answer In.
Yeah, I think the biggest knock on him is the post. He's got to overcome an outside post, and he's got chief competition that are much better posted in this race for whatever that's worth, but I can't knock this horse's talent, and he was unlucky to lose the Springboard Mile.
10 points to the winner to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby here in the Southwest. Let's check in with Nancy.
Thanks so much. Now, Richard Baltus, my old friend from Southern California, glad to have him with Tai-Shan here in today's Southwest. This is the first time he's ever had to ship. How did he handle the journey?
Oh, he shipped really well. They all came in last week. I think it was on Tuesday. And he's been eating up well and galloping well, and we'll see what happens.
Well, he seems to be very happy here in Hot Springs. You just got to see him warm up. How do you see the race setting up for Tai-Shan?
Well, I think he needs to break well and be forwardly placed. I don't think he wants to be too far back. So, hopefully we get a good break and we get a good position and he gets a clean trip.
Well, best of luck in the Southwest. Points on the line for the Kentucky Derby. Greg?
Nancy, thank you. And there is Tai-Shan, so 18-1. He was 5-1 morning line, being completely dismissed in this race.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a big fan of him. I will say, to be fair, he did run well to break his maiden with a pretty good trip. What kind of trip is he going to be able to work out in here, though, Richie?
Well, that's what it seems like to me. I see kind of that wide chasing trip that's just very hard to overcome.
That's what I thought.
He faced a very good one for Bob Baffert from that arsenal that he has, authentic last time out, who's undefeated. Here's a look at Shoplifted. Steve Asmussen runner, and 2 back. He won that Springboard Mile. He outdueled Answer In, and then struggled a little bit in the mud in the Smarty Jones.
He did. I mean, he got a decent enough buyer speed figure, to be fair to him, though that race was, I think, very much about the way the race was run. I just don't know that this is a horse that's going to get better with more distance.
He certainly gives you the impression that he's more of a one-turn type. Now, obviously, you've got to give him every chance to see if he can get to the Kentucky Derby, but a race like the Allen Jerkins would seem more like a goal.
Here's the D. Wayne Lucas runner. This is American Butterfly, son of American Pharaoh. His only 2-turn race, he tired badly.
I like this horse. I think he's a different horse from 2 to 3. I was around Wayne's barn a lot last summer. I liked this horse then, but thought he was very immature. I see a much bigger, stronger horse. I loved his return. If you watch that replay, he was down inside, wasn't the most comfortable. When it really opened up, he finally dropped his head and ran and really galloped out.
My concern with him is a big price, and I don't like to knock long shots. If you like a long shot, you should always bet him. But in a general sense, my concern for him is there's a lot of speed in here, and he projects to be probably chasing the 1 Wells Bayou and the 5 Gore Gold Street. I don't know if it's a winning trip for him chasing a fast pace.
Well, he's going to have to work out the right trip. I'm hoping he finds himself in the pocket 3, 4, 5 lengths away.
Unproven around 2 turns. We'll see if today is a different story for American Butterfly as we go back to Lafitte and Gary.
Gary, who won 2 Kentucky Derbies for trainer D. Wayne Lukas, winning colors the Filly and Thunder Gulch in 1995 at odds of 24 to 1, I believe it was. Lukas trying to pull off another upset here. A man who learned underneath D. Wayne Lukas is well represented. Trainer Todd Pletcher, who's won more Arkansas Derbies than any other trainer in history. He's won 5 of them. He has 8 combined wins in the Southwest, the Rebel, and the Arkansas Derby. And he has Chase Tracker this afternoon, Gary. Your thoughts on Chase Tracker as a prospect moving towards the Derby?
Well, I think he's got the potential. He's coming out of a really good race, the Remsen, which has been a good race for 2-year-olds that can prove their stamina. He was 3rd in that. It's a 1.8 miles last year, so actually longer distance than what he's going to be running today. This is a comeback race for him. He's fresh, so, is he going to be fit enough to get the right trip? He's got a great post position. He should be tracking just off the pace. He does have a little bit of early speed, but I see him getting a decent trip here under John Velasquez.
Here's what I remember about Chase Tracker. I was watching you guys actually covering the Remsen on the undercard of the Cigar Mile. You, Andy, and Greg were having this conversation about Chase Tracker and saying, he broke his maiden the same day as Independence Hall at Parks in September in the exact same time. Independence Hall, we know how good he is. His stock doesn't drop that much following the loss in the Sam Davis. That kind of thing, sticks with you with Chase Tracker.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the one thing about Todd Pletcher is he can get a horse fit off the layoff. He's got a lot of ammunition over in that barn. Good horses to work with. Good horses make good horses better. So I expect him to be fairly fit coming in off this race.
Smarty Jones winner, pictured Gold Street. Scott Blasi, Steve Asmussen's assistant trainer. This is what he says about Gold Street. He says he's small, but he has this efficient long stride, allowing him to cover more ground. He is fast early, and he's fast late. That's going to make any racehorse anywhere dangerous in any spot.
Yeah, I love his race in the Smarty Jones, and a lot of people are giving the credit to him there because of the slow pace, having things his own way that day on a sloppy racetrack. Did that move him up? I don't know. I think I like the size of this horse. He's athletic, and I think he's got a chance to back it up today.
Gold Street and Martin Garcia. You're looking at Wells Bayou drawn inside. Florent Giroux just won the Razorback, looking to go back-to-back with a win in the Southwest Stakes. Wells Bayou at 9-1, and we check in with Nancy.
Thanks so much, Lafitte. If you look at Answer In's run lines, he ran a very good second in his stakes debut in the Springboard Mile. Brad said he learned a lot from that particular performance. If you see, he kind of came running late, just missing that victory. And he didn't go in the Smarty Jones because he said it was a little too quick. So this race was pointed out for a reason. The scheduling was right on his time frame. So this race, the Southwest Stakes, fit right perfect on the calendar for Answer In. So he is coming in ready to go and right on schedule. Lafitte?
Answer in those Bob LaPenta colors. LaPenta, who's been associated with some very good 3-year-olds over the years. Datara, the big brown Belmont spoiler back in 2008. Co-owner of Tapper to Belmont winner. Catholic Boy, a Travers Stakes victor. Your thoughts on Answer In, Gary, as an individual, as a talent moving forward?
Well, he's going to have to move forward. He's got the right rider aboard him today. Second time that Javier's got to ride him. He rode him in the Springboard, got to know him a little bit. I don't like the draw that he's got out in the 9 path. A lot of these guys are going to come charging away from the gate because they want to get position, and they're going to test drive these things a little bit today and put them in some spots that they're going to see how they react to it. Because
so what does he do?
Well, I think he'll be aggressive coming away from there and try and get over and save some ground. It's essential he tries to get over and save some ground going into that first turn. If he's 6 wide going around that first turn, it's going to hurt him at the end.
There's Silver Prospector, currently 4-1. Before the Smarty Jones, Ricardo Santana had options. Gold Street, Silver Prospector. He went Silver Prospector. Didn't work out that day. What's the key for Silver Prospector to turn things around today in the Southwest?
I really don't know. I don't know that he had a huge excuse in his last out. And I'll tell you what, I think with Ricardo Santana, a lot of times it comes down to a coin flip of who he wants to ride in some of these races or who Steve wants him to ride. He doesn't necessarily have his pick every single time. He tries to put him on the horse that he thinks he's going to fit the best. He comes back with a lot of feedback, but he's got so many powerful horses over there, so many good horses over there. A lot of times it's like you tell your agent, hey, just flip a coin. I don't care. I'm going to ride each and every one of them with confidence.
Santana moving in, Silver Prospector. So many huge moments here at Oaklawn Park for Santana. He won his 500th career race here, his 1,000th career race here. Santana, his first Grade 1 at Oaklawn in the Arkansas Derby with Creator a few years ago for trainer Steve Asmussen. Asmussen has 3, but the favorite, Answer In. We're all set. Vic Stauffer with the call. Post time for the Grade 3 Southwest.
They're off. Wells Bayou is asked for speed and how. He goes to the front from Gold Street and Villainous. Answer In will be wide early. American Butterfly. Tyshawn is in a very tight spot, and Tyshawn had to check off heels. Then comes Silver Prospector, followed by Chase Tracker, and the trailer to the backstretch is Shoplifted. Wells Bayou wanted that lead, and he's got it. 3/4 of a length to Villainous in second, and outside is Answer In. Gold Street will have to do his running from mid-pack today, and he is passed by stablemate Silver Prospector at the rail. Then to the outside in Tyshawn. American Butterfly is still between horses and still in tight. Shoplifted is second to last, and the trailer is Chase Tracker. Just over a half mile to go in the 55th Southwest Stakes, and the leader is Wells Bayou. Wells Bayou into the far turn from Villainous in second. Answer In is 3 deep in third. Silver Prospector catches the eye at the rail. He moves up within 2 of the front, and he's about to move into second. Here's Silver Prospector after Wells Bayou. Then comes Gold Street. Shoplifted is following Silver Prospector, his stablemate. Meanwhile, Wells Bayou is still there. Answer In is coming after him in second. Silver Prospector confidently handled by Santana. If he finds a way through, he could be the one. Wells Bayou is the one to beat. Now Silver Prospector has found light, and here he comes. Silver Prospector slingshots to the lead, and now he's 2 in front of Wells Bayou, who can do nothing about it. Answer In is next and Shoplifted, but it's Silver Prospector over Wells Bayou. Silver Prospector wins the Southwest. He won it by 2. Wells Bayou was second, Answer In third. Shoplifted finished 4th.
There goes that team again. Ricardo Santana Jr., Steve Asmussen teaming up with Silver Prospector at 9-2, taking down the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes.
Yeah, maybe all he needs is a gray horse to win the Kentucky Derby like I got my first Kentucky Derby. Ricardo Santana set a great trip in there. You heard Vic Stauffer saying how confident he was, and he was confident. That's a great feeling when you're coming around that final bend and the horse is taking you literally and you don't have to move. When you push the button like Ricardo did when they straightened out, all over with. Great run, and a great run from second place runner Wells Bayou.
Huge run from Wells Bayou. What was the difference today between the disappointment of Silver Prospector in the Smarty Jones and the victory in the Southwest?
Sometimes it's just education. He got a decent pace to run out. They went 22-4 in here, 46, so it was an honest pace. And he got some education last time, but he got the great trip today, and he did not get the great trip in his last race.
Back to the start of the race, we thought Gold Street would set the tempo. Down on the inside, Florent Giroux and Wells Bayou caught a flyer very quick leaving the starting gate and makes the lead going into the first turn.
You know, I never knew that Florent was such a great gate rider, and he did that 2 races in a row today, and it almost pulled it off. He almost made it work. But back there down on the inside rail is just Ricardo Santana sitting very comfortable. It got stacked up going into that first turn, a little banging around. You see the 9-horse Answer In getting the wide trip there, extremely wide around the first turn. In the meantime, Ricardo's saving all the ground, and that ground adds up, and it can help you if you get to save it.
Answer In losing some ground on the first turn. How much do you think that cost him? He did wind up finishing in third.
I think it cost him a lot. I mean, it's obviously not where Javier wanted to be going out there. There's nothing he could do about it, and he still ran a great race. He's getting tired, wandering around a little bit in the late stretch.
Onward and upward, Greg, for Silver Prospector. 10 Kentucky Derby points, the win in the Southwest, and we know he likes Churchill Downs, at least when it's muddy at Churchill Downs.
Yes, we do. He was the only graded stakes winner in the field as a result of that performance in the slop in the Kentucky Jockey Club when he beat the highly regarded Tiz the Law. And since they've moved this horse from turf to dirt, with the exception of that race in the mud last start, he has been really good, Andy.
Yeah, he has. And he was badly compromised by pace last time, to be fair to him. I think, though, this race was won, and you'll see how erratic the 9 is in the stretch, but this race was won around the first turn, Richie, because, and those guys alluded to it as well, and Gary was talking about it, while the 9, who's very green in the stretch here, had to be wide. I mean, Silver Prospector, Richie, does no work in the early stages of the race, yet he finds himself basically on even terms with the number 9 going in the backstretch.
Well, he had that great inside draw, post 2. He fell right into that perfect spot. Great ride by Ricardo Santana, and he was ultra confident throughout. But, you know, you also have to have a horse that's brave enough to hold his ground in there, take the kick back in the first. He passed a lot of tests today.
You know, he did run well, but I don't want to take anything away from Wells Bayou because he battled back every step of the way. It's a very game performance by him, and you got to love what Florent Giroux does. He did it again. He said, I'm taking no prisoners. And it's almost like Martin Garcia almost got caught by surprise, and because he's sort of half left, everybody outside of him trying to leave gets caught in that tough position. Silver Prospector, we can't see. He's on the rail. He cuts the corner. He does no work, and he's right there 2 lengths behind.
And then there's body contact besides, and they're wide. And then you've got the 2-horse, the winner, Silver Prospector, like the boy in the bubble. No body contact, saving every inch of ground in that beautiful, quiet spot.
And I don't think that's what the connections of Gold Street, the 4, wanted at all from their horse.
No, it's, you know, Florent Giroux it's almost like 2 riders, but I don't want to be too tough on Martin Garcia, and maybe the one just had more horse. But it felt like Florent came out of the gate and he said, I'm going. And Martin Garcia came out of the gate going, I'm going. You know?
Yeah, well, I like when guys have a plan and they're aggressive to execute that plan. If it turns out to be a mistake, better to make an aggressive mistake than a passive mistake.
And look at what we've seen this weekend on this show. We saw Mr. Monomoy with Florent Giroux. Sends a horse out that you don't expect to be on the lead, establishes the lead, and he wins the race. We saw it in the race before with the horse that won, Warriors Charge, right? Took control of the race despite 2 other speeds. Right here, other speeds. He said, I'm going. If you want to go, you're going to have to run with me.
Made it interesting in the end. Wells Bayou comes up a little bit short. Silver Prospector, grade 2 winner already, now adds a grade 3 to his resume, and Ricardo Santana Jr. won this race with Tapiture back in 2014. Wins again for the same barn here. Steve Asmussen has what looks to be a primetime contender for the first Saturday in May.
It's so early this year, and I don't think we have a superstar out there for the 3-year-olds that you have to say, well, he got to beat so-and-so.
Not like in years past, although we have had some in years past, and some of us didn't even pick that horse in any leg of the Triple Crown.
I picked the Derby winner like when Gary Stevens used to ride. Like Silver Charm, I loved him. It was like 97.
You went against American Pharoah each and every leg, didn't you?
I liked him in the Travers.
Ricardo Santana Jr., a lot to smile about. Silver Prospector with the win in the Grade 3 Southwest. We'll be back.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
You know, I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to, you know, to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. You know, it's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NyraBets.com.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1 2. The Star Guitar Filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Silver Prospector confidently handled by Santana. If he finds a way through, he could be the one. Wells Bayou is the one to beat. Now Silver Prospector has found light, and here he comes. Silver Prospector slingshots to the lead, and now he's 2 in front of Wells Bayou, who can do nothing about it. Answer In is next and shoplifted, but it's Silver Prospector over Wells Bayou. Silver Prospector wins the Southwest. He won it by 2. Wells Bayou was second, Answer In third. Shoplifted finished 4th.
He's fired up. Ricardo Santana. You saw the salute to the crowd as they posed for pictures. Silver Prospector in the Southwest Stakes. Santana with 2 victories on the afternoon, both for Steve Asmussen. Again, he had 6 rides today, all for Steve Asmussen. Gary, all right, so let's look ahead now. How legit of a Kentucky Derby prospect are we talking about with Silver Prospector moving forward?
He just caught my attention for sure. One thing that you're doing as a jockey when you're riding these prep races for the Kentucky Derby, you're constantly taking down notes of what has happened in a race as that race is going on, how they're handling every single situation. You know what? Richie said it earlier. I think he passed a lot of tests today. He sat down there on the inside. He was able to make up the ground going around the first turn by saving the ground, and then sat in there, was patient. And the horse, you could see him. He wasn't pulling. He was waiting for the cue from Ricardo Santana when to give it his best shot, and that was through the stretch. So those are all things that you're registering in your head. How they handle the crowd today out here? They're just gonna get bigger and bigger, these crowds, and he passed a lot of tests today for me, Lafitte.
Winning the Southwest, Silver Prospector, a second in the Southwest for trainer Steve Asmussen, live with Nancy.
This year's Southwest was Silver Prospector. Now, Steve, he seemed like he sat a little closer to the pace today than he did in the Smarty Jones. Was that by design?
Absolutely. The horse been a little sharper and stuff. He got a little too far back in the Smarty Jones. Ricardo put him in the race. I think, we learned from that, and he was in a good position all the way around there.
Now, obviously, we're in a points situation. He did have the most points going into this race. He now has 21. But with that, and he is a horse for course now, can we expect to see him in the Rebel?
Well, absolutely. The series here obviously is quite lucrative. Points being very important. We're all aimed at the Derby. I feel very good about the race that he ran here with having the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby left on the calendar. And with him having a win at Churchill Downs on the dirt, we feel really good about him.
Congratulations and job well done, guys.
Nancy, thanks so much. Silver Prospector, with those 21 points now, but the waters are going to get deeper, Gary, when you look ahead to the Rebel Stakes, where 50 points will go to the winner, 3 Technique, who skipped today's race, the Southwest Stakes. He's looking at the Rebel Stakes, and we'll have more on this colt later on in the show, but Nadal for trainer Bob Baffert on his way to Oaklawn for the Rebel.
Yeah, and Nadal, he could be any kind of horse, and it is Bob Baffert. He's loaded again this year. We all know what Bob can do in the Kentucky Derby, and it's that time of the year right now. But I'll tell you one thing. All the connections of this horse winning today, they're going to sleep well tonight because he took the step in the right direction, and he can stand the deeper water. Trust me, he's ready for more competition.
Silver Prospector, Greg, as the road to the Arkansas Derby continues, again with the Rebel just around the corner, Arkansas Derby, that road to Churchill Downs through Oaklawn Park here, which has been so productive over the last couple of decades.
It has indeed. A lot can change, though, as we go from one prep to the next. They mentioned Nadal. That's one of about 6 Kentucky Derby contenders for trainer Bob Baffert. We're going to talk about a couple of them. Of course, we saw the Risen Star on Saturday. We had split divisions. Brad Cox almost pulled off the exact same thing we saw in one of those divisions with Mr. Monomoy going gate to wire with a horse in the race that we just saw. Mr. Monomoy with the quicker of the two races on Saturday, earned an 84 Beyer speed figure for this gate to wire performance.
92. The other Modernist got an 84 Beyer.
Correct.
Yeah, he went 3/4 of a second faster. Listen, he's still not in the top echelon, but I think he took a big step forward, which is what you want to see. I mean, Richie, these are preps.
These are preps. These are young horses that develop a great deal. A 3-year-old, a 2-year-old colt turning 3 changes the most in his life from about November of his 2-year-old year until May of his 3-year-old year. You're going to see a lot of development, a lot of moves forward from different horses, and this is a horse that's definitely stepping forward, and he's got the pedigree behind him to say that he should be a good horse. I mean, Monomoy Girl, his half-sister, is a champion.
No, I'm not going to argue with any of that. I think he's an up-and-comer. And, Bob Baffert obviously is loaded right now, but it doesn't like he has some horse that's like an American Pharoah or somebody that feels impossible to beat.
All right. No, not yet, but a couple who are
it can
undefeated.
Change, but
Here was the second division of the Risen Star, and Bill Mott says, I really would like to win the Derby and have my horse finish in front. We'll see if he can do that this year. Modernist, he did earn, as you mentioned, an 84 Beyer, 151-1 for this performance.
I think any trainer wouldn't mind finishing second, getting placed first. I don't want to knock him. He got the job done. I thought he got a great ride from Junior Alvarado. This was a very slow race. We saw horses out of his maiden win at Aqueduct come back and run today. They all lost. 2 of them were heavily favored. I think he's way too slow at this point to be even considered remotely a Derby contender.
Right, and at this point, I think that's a fair assessment. He obviously has a chance to develop and change. The one thing I could say about him, I think he was game and he was very resolute.
And keep in mind, too, he was coming off a maiden special weight win.
Just 3 weeks earlier and shipped down there. No, I agree. I thought he got a fabulous ride.
Absolutely.
But he's young and he can improve and he has the right trainer to do it. But there are a lot of horses that are considerably faster right now.
Yes, he does need to improve, but he's in the right hands to do that. Here's what Bill Mott had to say after the win.
The timing was a little bit of a rush. I mean, he only ran 3 weeks ago in New York, but we shipped him to Florida. He shipped well. He looked good. And I got to looking at the dates of all the races, and it looked like, if I could make this race, it would, make the rest of it a lot easier. So we rushed a little bit to get here today for this race, but worked out well. And we've got 5 weeks, I believe, back to the Louisiana Derby.
Well, he already acts better than Country House did at this time in his 3-year-old campaign. He was a bit of a bad actor. This horse, very professional.
You're never going to sell me on this horse. You guys can have all you want.
Well, no, I'm going to wait and see the next one. I mean, we were talking about Derby and these horses earlier, that we wouldn't want to have to make a selection right now because a lot of things are going to change and a lot of things are going to develop as we go along. And like you said, these are preps.
Right. No, I agree.
This is how dominant that Bob Baffert is. He has an A, B, C, really probably even a D string. This horse is Azul Coast that won in the El Camino Real Derby, somewhere near the bottom probably of that list. He just got beat by one of his stablemates convincingly and authentic, and then he goes up north to the Bay Area, and he wins the El Camino Real Derby very impressively.
And now he has a win and you're in, I think, for the Preakness.
He does.
Listen, Bob Baffert's so loaded. He even had that sensational sprinter-looking type win yesterday at Santa Anita. This was a workmanlike win, I thought, against an okay field. We'll see. I don't know what to think.
And workmanlike is a fair assessment.
But he's the kind of horse that'll come grinding along, and Bob's probably thinking, I'll probably take a shot with him in the Belmont Stakes.
Here's a look at the updated leaderboard. So Mr. Monomoy won that first division of the Risen Star. He is atop the list, and 52 points in the history of the point system. That's good enough to get you in the starting gate.
Yeah, they're in. Pressure's off.
Meanwhile, Todd Pletcher, and a horse that we learned about last summer at Saratoga, Gouverneur Morris, came back at Tampa, and his return effort as a 3-year-old, just 0.2 of a second off the track record.
Tampa's a place the Founding Fathers always wanted to spend an afternoon. I thought he ran very well in here. He really didn't look like he was going to beat the talented Untitled, who apparently is appointed for the Gotham for Mark Casse, but he ground him down to the stretch. It's a fast race. It got an 88 Beyer, and he has to step forward a little bit, but it was a terrific start for him.
I think it's a terrific start, a horse that they've always been high on. And, it's interesting watching him run, even though he ran fast. And he still runs a little bit, to me, like a horse with the emergency brake on. Like he hasn't learned to put it all together. There's not a lot of continuity to it. He kind of stops and starts. I think when he figures it out mentally, that's when you're going to see the best of him, and he's pretty talented now.
Barry Irwin, he owns half of this horse, part of Team Valor. He said you see him work, he starts to lose focus when he passes horses. Did that a little bit in that race at Tampa, but he's got a ton of talent. We should mention Bob Baffert had a horse named Charlatan debut just the other day, 105 buyer. Pretty incredible. We're going to talk who impressed you the most this week in the 3-year-old picture.
Well, I mean, Charlatan was the most brilliant. He won at 6 furlongs. Questions how far he wants to go. Probably not a Derby-type horse.
By Speightstown.
Who impressed me most this weekend? I would say Mr. Monomoy took the biggest step forward, though I do think we saw a nice performance just now at Oaklawn.
I agree with you on both counts. I'm going to say Silver Prospector. I like the way he did things professionally speaking, sitting in the pocket, getting that trip, coming out when he needed to. I thought he was the horse to me that kind of took for me, if like a Derby-type horse, took the biggest step forward.
No, it's a very fair point. You want to see these horses. It's one thing like Mr. Monomoy to be going along on the front end. They're not all going to be getting an easy trip on the front end of the Derby, and that's why you want to use these preps to teach them and give them an education.
Still a lot to see, especially from these runners out of the Bob Baffert Barn Nadal. We're still waiting to see him go 2 turns for the first time. Charlatan, you mentioned, maybe a sprint pedigrees by Speightstown.
The Woody Stevens and the Alan Jerkins could be on his radar.
We still have the nightcap from Oaklawn. It is 3-year-olds. Maybe a starter from the Derby coming out of this race. We'll find out.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, Grade 2 winner Sharp Samurai, international star Shamal Nibraz, graded stakes performers Uncapped and Sweet Sammy B, and Bal Harbor, runner-up in the Grade 1 Woodward Stakes. His 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First, Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round bumper inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Thanks for spending part of your President's Day with us. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We have one more coming up from Oaklawn Park. Their nightcap is at 1 1/16. It is a maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and some who've shown some talent in here. The 2 Wild Union. It's a horse who 2 starts back was second to Major Fed, who just ran second to Modernist in the Risen Star.
I agree. He's got some nice names in his PPs, but he's also got 5 seconds in 7 starts, and he's been 8-5, 3-1, 3-1, 5-2, 8-5, 4-1, and 2-1. So he has been what we call a money burner, but he is the horse
4
to beat.
consecutive second-place finishes, yeah, to Andy's point. But he has faced some good ones. We'll see if he can break through today. Joe Talamo will be aboard. He is favored right now. We're going to take a look first at Assad here in a moment. He's going to make an equipment change. Blinkers going on for Danny Pites.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Danny Pites, and I know Richie as well. Used to train in New York. It's a funny race because the 3, 4, and 5 are all coming out of a sprint that collapsed, and they ran well at the end, particularly the 5 background. But these are the kind that don't usually run effectively when they stretch out to the 2 turns as they are today.
Here's Assad. He's faced some nice ones too. Blackberry Wine, Lynn's Map.
And he may benefit from his inside draw to get position here.
No question the one to beat, but he's had a bit of second-itis, Wild Union.
Well, and it always becomes problematic to me when a horse keeps finishing second. You just start questioning their will to win at crunch time.
Start number 2 from Dream on Me Baby, who got off slow in the debut.
He did break a little bit slowly, and he made a reasonable run, but that race was just falling apart in the late stages.
2 sprints now stretching out. Here's Warriors map.
Well, and I like that he has that second sprint under his belt, and he has a pedigree that says that stretching out should be beneficial to him.
Background, he showed a ton of talent. He had an eventful trip in his debut.
If you bet this horse at 38-1 in his debut, you're still crying because he absolutely should have won. Running through traffic, he had some trouble in the race after the start, but will he stretch out?
Recklessness went by for Ingrid Mason.
Yeah, he's going to need to improve.
'Tis the Journey, 26-1.
For our man Nick Zito, I think he's a player. And how is he, Richie, how's he 26-1 here?
Should not be.
Went 29-1, Dwayne Lucas.
Another horse that just seems a bit slow on paper.
Shaka actually debuted on synthetic at Turfway Park for Mike Maker.
Yeah, the dam was trained by our friend Chuck Simon, actually. We'll see if this one improves on dirt. More of a turf family.
Boating Party's a first-time starter for Steve Asmussen, sold for $300,000.
By Curlin, obviously Steve very familiar with him, but making his debut going long with an outside draw, a lot to overcome.
And Frontman, 17-1 on the outside.
Can he clear the lead as he did in his last race? As Danny Pites bookends the field, he's got the rail and the outside. I think he would have wished this one drew the inside post.
Well, we just saw the big prep to try and get points to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby, but we have 3-year-olds again in this race. Maybe someone could step up, put themselves eventually on the Kentucky Derby trail as we send it back to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
3-year-olds all the time, Greg. We began the show talking about what a special place this racetrack is, Oaklawn Park, and what a loyal fan base they have, despite the threat of rain this afternoon. 19,000 plus today for the President's Day program, and they were treated to some terrific thoroughbred racing. Silver Prospector winning the Southwest, and now moving on, we'll see perhaps in the Rebel, if he stays locally, maybe in Arkansas Derby, but wanted to continue the 3-year-old conversation. Big weekend of preps. We go back to Fairgrounds this past Saturday. So many horses wanting to go in the Risen Star, split into 2 divisions, won by Mr. Monomoy. How impressed were you?
I was extremely impressed with Mr. Monomoy, and I think the thing about it is, you know, he set the pace. He repelled some challenges coming into the stretch, but the thing that caught my eye the most, he ran almost a full second faster in this half than what they ran the other half of the Risen Star. And looks like a horse that, you know, he was still finding at the end. He wasn't tiring. He's extending his advantage. He's under pressure, granted, but with this long stretch there that they have at the Fairgrounds, if they can get through that stretch, finishing as strongly as he did after setting the pace the whole way, you better keep your eye out for him.
Big win, Mr. Monomoy, Monomoy girl's brother. For that reason, going to be so popular moving forward. And now, with those 50 points taking down the first division of the Risen Star on Saturday, a horse that you're a big fan of in Authentic. You know, we saw Mr. Monomoy running straight and true. That was not the case with Authentic the last time we saw him on the racetrack in the afternoon.
Now, look, he broke his maiden sprinting, then he was stretched out in the Sham Stakes at Santa Anita, and he was a beast. He was a beast until the 8th pole. Watch what he does, Lafitte. I think you've already seen it. We've seen it. He heard some noise looking up in the grandstand, wandered all over the place. He's got the race well in hand right now, extending his lead, but the ears go up and he starts not paying attention, loses his focus, almost hits the rail right there under Drayden Van Dyke. Well, they've made some changes with him since this race. They put earplugs in his ears, same American Pharoah style.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it worked out happy ending there. So they put the earplugs in there. I watched his workout last week. It wasn't planned for him to have a target. There was another horse about 15 lengths in front of him as they came into the stretch. And I thought Drayden was just, you know, cruising out there, and all of a sudden this horse kicked in the gear and he swallowed up the horse in front of him. I won't say who the other horse was because it was for another trainer, but it was a decent kind of horse.
Don't embarrass anybody.
I liked what I saw in his morning workouts, and I think he's got a big future.
Baffert convinced those problems are behind Authentic?
Yes, and Drayden Van Dyke, I spoke with him at length as well, and he just got a big smile on his face, and he said he can't wait.
Well, what about the fans here at Oaklawn? They get to see this colt very soon. Nate Dahl, rebel-bound. Baffert, who's had so much success here at Oaklawn Park, and Nate Dahl, winner of the San Vicente Stakes last Sunday out at Santa Anita.
Yeah, and you know, I think after his first performance, Bob was a little surprised at how well he handled that first race, sprinting. He fired him back in 3 weeks, which Bob doesn't usually do, and runs a gutty race right here. Comes home a winner. He was tested hard. He's going to improve off of this race. Bob, as we know, he doesn't have him fully cranked up for all these prep races. He wants him to peak on Derby Day, so I'd look for him to take another step forward.
That's Nadal. And then yesterday, you heard the guys mentioning Charlatan yesterday out in Southern California, also trained by Bob Baffert, a 105 Beyer speed figure. That is off the charts insane.
Yeah, a huge figure. This would be the first time that I've seen this race. I was at some other stuff yesterday, wasn't able to see it. I heard about it. Everybody was talking about Charlatan this morning, and I can see why right now. 105 Beyer, first time out. That's insane. Is he only a sprinter? I don't know, but that's super, super fast right there.
Unreal. So Andy was mentioning distance limitations, potentially. How far does he want to go? And you hear this in racing sometimes, that a young horse can do too much too soon. They can actually run too fast too soon. Is that a concern with Charlatan moving forward? 105 Beyer speed figure in his debut?
I would say yes, but Bob Baffert, he's going to keep his eyes on that because he knows about that as well. The horse performing too big the first time out, and if that's the case, he'll see how he comes out of it mentally. It didn't look like he was under a lot of pressure right there. He might just be super fast, but that's what he's going to be monitoring over the next week or so, seeing how he came out of that and what the next step is going to be with him.
I think that'll be a story we follow as we get closer to the Derby for Bob Baffert. You rode his first Derby winner, Silver Charm, back in 1997. He's won 5 Kentucky Derbies, one more Kentucky Derby win, and he would equal the all-time record.
That's amazing, the run that he's had, and with 2 Triple Crown winners over the last, 4 years,
Yep.
And he's loaded again this year. He's made his whole career about the Derby and the Triple Crown, these classic races. He loves running on Saturdays. He loves the TV cameras out there. He said, those are the races I want to be at, the ones that the cameras are at. And the owners like it, and he got huge support. But look, we've still got a long ways to go. It's going to come up on us quickly, but I like the hand that he has right now.
He even, his first Derby starter finished second, Cavanier, in 1996. By millimeters, defeated by Grindstone. And at the time he said, A, I know what it's like. It feels like to win a Derby. And B, I'll probably never be back, but at least I know what it feels like to think I've won a Derby. Here we are, it's 2020, and Bob Baffert has won 5 Kentucky Derbies.
He's turned it into almost a science with picking the right spots for these horses, shipping them around, trying to keep them out of each other's way for the owner's sake. Sometimes they've got to run against each other, but he loves it when he's got multiple running on the Derby day, not necessarily in all these prep races. And he's done a great job of spotting them, picking which ones can handle the traveling, which ones will love it and can handle it physically. So he has made the Bob Baffert science out of winning the Kentucky Derby.
Rebel Stakes shaping up as a doozy. You saw Silver Prospector winning today's Southwest Stakes. 3 Technique for trainer Jeremiah Engelhart, runner-up in the Smarty Jones. He's headed to the Rebel. Bob Baffert sending Nadal the Rebel Stakes with $1 million purse next month here at Oaklawn Park. And yeah, we have more 3-year-olds here in the President's Day Nightcap. 3-year-olds running a mile and a 16th. The purse, $85,000. Let's take a look at number 2, A Wild Union. Gary, with Joe Talamo in the saddle, co-favorite at 2-1.
Yeah, I'm with Andy here. This horse looks like he might be a professional maiden. When they've started 7 times, have 5 seconds, and they've been bet every time, you start wondering. Maybe today will be the day, but the number 5 horse here, I know a little bit about him.
What's the background on background?
The background on background is this horse, this could be a prep for him for the Rebel, if what they're telling me is right about him. Tyler Bay's high on him. Michael Puich, his trainer. I know all the connections, and they're super excited about this colt. First time out, he had a rough trip, got squeezed out of the gate, was blocked all the way coming into the stretch. Looked like he had no chance. Comes on to be a good third that day. I know they were looking forward to stretching him out today.
Background at 2-1 with Tyler Bays. They are filing into the gate one final time on this President's Day program. We hand things over to Vic Stauffer with the live call, 10th of 10. On Southwest Day at Oaklawn Park.
Boating Party has gone in. Here's Frontman. And the last horse to load will be Recklessness. They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Frontman and Boating Party, the outside two. Background is away in third, but now takes back as Warriors Map passes him. Then to the outside and went. Assad's at the rail, then Wild Union and Dream on Me Baby, followed by Recklessness. 'Tis the Journey, and the trailer is Shaka. From the outside to the rail, Frontman is going to clear off to the backstretch as Boating Party lets him go, so Frontman leads by a length. Boating Party is second, 3/4 of a length. Background tugs Tyler Bays up into third, and he's less than 2 from the front. Assad takes the rail with Warriors Map between horses. Dream on Me Baby is 6 with only 3.5 lengths to make up. Wild Union is in the red and white at the rail. Then it's 2 back to Went, another 2 lengths to Recklessness, followed by 'Tis the Journey. Shaka is the trailer, and there's a half-mile left to run, and Frontman and Boating Party are 1-2. Frontman into the far turn, 3/4 of a length in front of Boating Party in second. Background, Warriors Map and Assad make up the next flight. They're all 2 from the front. Then Dream on Me Baby, Wild Union and Recklessness at the rail. In the center goes 'Tis the Journey, then Went, and Shaka is the trailer, and Frontman is still the leader. It is Frontman at the quarter pole, a half length in front of Boating Party in second. Background is asked to go now, and here he comes 3 wide, and Background with a big move has suddenly taken over the lead, and look at Background run away at the top of the stretch, and he is suddenly 5 lengths in front. Background, Wild Union to the outside end, Shaka, but Background comes to the 16th pole, and he is clearly in front, kind of loafing around on the lead. This is a good-looking horse. Background won by 5. 'Tis the Journey was second, 3 across the track for third. Wild Union, Dream on Me Baby, and Shaka.
You weren't kidding, Gary. You weren't messing around. This gelding can run. Wow, Background runs away and hides to break his maiden in his second career start.
Yeah, and thank you, Tyler. I appreciate the information there. I wish I would have bet a little bit.
You didn't get down?
At that 2-1. No, I didn't want to stop him. Lafitte, you know me. But, no, impressive colt. And, again, I've got from what they were saying, don't be surprised if you don't see him back in that race next month.
Maybe a prep stepping up for the Rebel. Is he ready for the big boys? He was awfully good today. Background by several in the 10th and final on the President's Day card at Oaklawn Park.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Calbred.
I think the bonus is really interesting. Mr. McInvale, as usual, is thinking outside the box, doing a wonderful job promoting his horse. Buyers will really appreciate having an opportunity like that to come back and run their horses at these top tracks and earn that bonus.
It's a wonderful incentive both for people in the market and people that own these horses. And I mean, what a great bonus it would be for anybody that wins. I think it's wonderful.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the races, and looks like we might have a horse we're going to see line up in the next prep at Oaklawn and the Rebel on March 14th. Background, very impressive in start number 2.
Yeah, I mean, its time doesn't compare favorably to what we saw earlier in the Southwest, but wow, they crushed this field.
Well, we were talking earlier, too, how often do horses come out of one sprint and win going long? So you got to like that.
No, I agree. They usually don't, and great information from Gary, who was all over him. He was dead right.
First time going 2 turns. It's the second start of his career, so certainly there's a lot more improvement to be had from background, but he looked awfully impressive for Mike Puich. Giddy Up Stables and Tyler Days aboard.
We mentioned our man Nick Zito with 'Tis the Journey. That horse was a crazy overlay at 35-1 and finished second, albeit a distant one. Wyatt Union, he got into a pitched battle for second, and he still abdicated. He does not want to pass that horse.
No, he didn't see the horse in front,
Right.
and he thought that was for the win. So he said, he's very polite. He said, no, after you.
We are back next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We will see you then. We're going to continue later down the road, on the road to the Triple Crown. We'll have more from Oaklawn. Again, March 14th, that is the Rebel. Then, of course, the Arkansas Derby in April. But we saw some impressive performances today, but still a lot to sort out. I Googled, go Google yourself. And after this Bayakoa win, she showed up first.
Wow.
What a performance. Looked very good. She's won 3 of her last 4, now 2 for 2 at Oaklawn. Warriors Charge, meanwhile, getting the job done on the Razorback Gate to Wire under Florent Giroux. Silver Prospector wins the Southwest and collects 10 points to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby under Ricardo Santana Jr. We'll see you next Saturday.